Like to be knowing about people. Gotta reach them, see it right now, and then you gotta teach about freedom.
Want to get it off your chest? You're in the right place. They accuse this show of being run by boobs. Well, let me tell you about us boobs. We're real and we're spectacular. Want politics and fun sprinkled with a lot of laughs? Heard in every state in the Union and 1,000 cities around the world. We just finished 16 years of broadcast excellence, now in our 17th year. The Dave Weinbaum Show is streaming live all over the world. While one has to give George Washington a lot of credit and the other patriots for their vigilance in writing a constitution that has lasted for more than 250 years despite the attacks upon it, we haven't seen this original independent talent until these last 10 years. Many wrote off Trump as an insignificant businessman who, like most of us in commerce, like me, have their ups and downs as part of the complications thrown upon them by ever-growing cancer of non-elected people bordering, sometimes ruling us towards socialism and communism. As Trump ascended in 2015 to be the GOP candidate, something went off in the heads of the minds of the deep swamp and the Democrats. They feared Trump, detesting him openly. His simple message of make America great again, they took that as a dagger to communism they had been brewing for the last 120 years. They tried to assassinate Trump. They tried to financially break him and jail him for life or until they could arrange for him to be assassinated in jail like Epstein. Why? It's because Trump isn't just a popular president with a passion for ordinary citizens. Every time he goes to foreign nations, he's the center of attention. It doesn't get any better than the leader of NATO referring to Donald Trump as his daddy.
Just to get everybody on the same page, why wouldn't Trump just take the call from Putin while the other leaders were in the room? He said it would be disrespectful to do that. But why is it disrespectful?
With all due respect, only a reporter from the New York Times would ask a question like that, Sean. The president met with all of these European leaders at the White House 48 hours after sitting down with President Putin on American soil. In fact, there was so much progress that every single one of them got on a plane 48 hours later and flew to the United States of America. These leaders, who this war is in their backyard, are very grateful that the president took that call and that he was there to provide them with a readout of Russia's thinking on this, something that was not done by the previous administration at all.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Dave Weinbaum Show. You'll have my picture up just a sec. We're experimenting with stuff, okay? We're trying to get these live videos on instead of watching some guy and sitting there like this and he's talking. No, we're going to try to get live video on this, so bear with us. We're working on it. And anything we can do just to improve the show a little bit every time we're on. And I got JP working on it, and I got Rick Henderson, the guy that does all the bits and clips down there in Salem, Missouri. And let's do this. I mean, I'm a believer, and you try to advance things a little bit every day, a little bit better than it was the day before. It doesn't always work. Sometimes you go a little backwards, but you always got to try to give the momentum and listen to your brain. Listen to God, and tell God, please, guide us to what we think we can do, and different ways of doing it. You look at a guy like Elon Musk. All he's doing is thinking out of the box, and he's doing what he can do to improve things for others. Forget his political deal right now. I think they're coming out of that. I think him and Trump are going to be buddies again. But let me tell you about this show. We're overbooked. It's getting to the point where, and I had this show booked almost a week ago. That's the amazing thing about this. It just happened recently like this. We got JJ Bradshaw coming on at 8:10. We got the Rabbi coming on at 8:40. We've got Chris Adamo at 9:30. We've got actually at 9 o'clock we have I forgot even to mention him, Bill Hardwick, and we have my lovely wife here finally at 8:06. Yes, she's a little late, and made me a wonderful sandwich this morning, comprised of. Now, well, tell the audience. I'm proud of you. It's really good stuff. Anyways, so she's not going to say it, but it was a lox bagel with everything on it, and onions, sautéed onions, tomatoes she grew in the backyard, cream cheese. Oh my God, it was good. Anyways, I'm still picking little things out of my mouth. No, actually, I brush them out. I have to brush my teeth really good because the poppy seeds, they stick to your teeth. Anyways, you didn't need to know that probably, but what the hell? So we got JJ coming on. We got Rabbi Moshe from Israel. We've got Bill Hardwick coming on at 9. Chris Adamo at 9:30. Bob Willis at 10. And this is going to be a big one here. This is from Hawaii. Melendez, Michelle Melendez from Hawaii, and she's going to tell us everything we need to know about what really happened in Hawaii and how this is comparable to the LA fires. And she's talking about people and animals were somehow burned from the inside out. This is really weird stuff, but there's a lot of weird stuff that's going on in the world today, and especially in California and Hawaii. All right. So, other than that, the phone number is 573-578-2700, or
you can also reach us on Facebook, X, YouTube, and also on Rumble.
So we're going to be running real hard today after a while, and I probably should do a commercial, shouldn't I?
Well, we got JJ coming on in a minute.
Yeah, that's true. All right, well, we'll wait on that, and then I'll tell you some of the stuff. Well, we just had a news blurb that the ex security guy for Donald Trump, and him was. Did I get the wrong page here? No, I didn't. Was arrested. He wasn't arrested, but he was. They went to his house, and they took a bunch of things that are allegedly classified. And his name, I gotta think of his name. His name, John Bolton. Yes, thank you. Gee, honey, very good, very good. Why am I looking at this and it's not there? Maybe it's because it's in the wrong page. All right. Well, it's a handsome fellow looking at me, and looks like he's lost weight or something. But he's 200 257 years old, right? And he is
Outright.
he's an expert on the Constitution, and he actually hung out with people like Thomas Jefferson and George Washington and Ben Franklin at these taverns up in Virginia. Actually, it was only one tavern in Virginia, the Ye Old Tavern, and they pick up pioneer women, and that's how old this guy is, and he had a lot to do with the Constitution. So please welcome, all the way from Rolla, Missouri, John Jeffrey Bradshaw.
Thank you, Dave.
Hello there, Mr. Bradshaw. What's on your mind?
Oh, Dave, what a week this has been.
Yeah.
You and I are drowning in stuff here. Let's just start off. Barack Hussein Obama, I just verified this morning, had his security clearance removed by the Director of National Intelligence. I saw the flash last night. I had to verify it this morning. Always get two sources. So Barack Hussein Obama is out of the loop now. And good. That's one less communist messing around in our government.
And he's the guy. Let me just say this: people need to be reminded that there was no Russian interference claimed by our government agencies until after the 2016 election, when Barack Obama did it on his own and lied about the Russia Gate thing, and lied it along with Hillary and a bunch of others. But he was the one that pushed this through, trying to eventually overturn the 2016 election, and failing that, keeping this lie going until after the 2026 or 22 election, and then even after that, after this election.
Let's not forget the 37 people that he had in collusion with him.
That's right.
So, Dave, this is something I've been waiting for the longest time. You and I talked about this right after Trump was elected, before he was sworn in, that one of the first things he would do was yank security clearances on people. And lo and behold, this has happened. It's taken a few months, but, you know, the wheels of justice do grind along fairly slowly. But yeah, you know, John Bolton losing his. And by the way, when they entered Bolton's house this morning, they didn't have the SWAT team like they did with Donald Trump. They didn't have a perp walk. This was done the way it should be done, fairly quietly with FBI agencies, no drawn guns. This is a class act, and the previous administration was not a class act. It was slimy.
Well, they took away the clearance from Biden, but that was mostly just the auto pens.
Well, they took Biden's clearance, but let's face it, Biden doesn't understand what day it is and can't find the men's room.
That's
so
why they
someone that's as loose around the edges really shouldn't have top secret compartmentalized security clearance to begin with. So yay. I'm so glad to see this happening in our government. It's about damn time. What do you say we talk about Judge Boasberg? You remember him?
Oh, sure.
This clown that really stuck his neck out and he just got it broken. The Constitution allows that the president has authority over international relationships. That is, our relationships with other countries. Boasberg decided, well, I'm getting ahead of myself. Donald Trump used the Alien Enemies Act and the Immigration and Nationalities Act to deport a bunch of Tren de Agua gang members. If you remember, they put them on a plane and sent them south. Boasberg issued a temporary restraining order saying you can't do that.
Right.
You got to fly them back. The Supreme Court on April 7th said, no, you have stuck your neck out in this thing. You are meddling in the foreign relations of the United States of America, which is exclusively the purview of the President of the United States. Boasberg got his hand slapped on that one, but it gets worse. Or as they used to say in the commercials, but it gets better. Boasberg, there is a movement among other judges within the district courts to remove him for cause, because he has done these outrageous things. Well, as long as we're beating up judges and prosecutors, what about our buddy Letitia James?
Yeah, how about that?
The appeals court, and you and I said this was going to happen, the appeals court kicked out the fine on Donald Trump. Was almost 500 million at this point. I think
it was above that,
4 million as of yesterday. Appeals court kicked it out. Why? Because of the 8th Amendment of the Constitution, which prohibits excessive punishment. I think in the Constitution it's called cruel and unusual punishment. This would be the unusual part of that.
Yeah.
500 million bucks, that's $500 million. And yeah, this is a pretty rich guy, but you and I would be squealing if this happened to us. And we said, as soon as that thing happened, this is going to get kicked out on appeals. And it did. Letitia James, stubborn, ignorant woman that she is, vows to appeal that ruling.
Yeah, good luck.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was
fighting her own problems with a little bit of fraud of her own.
Yes, my very next topic was, this is the woman that appears to be guilty of what she prosecuted Donald J. Trump for.
Exactly.
Doesn't this just blow you away, Dave? This is karma.
Well,
if I happen to be a Buddhist, I would be saying that this is karma big time. This thing has swooped back around to bite her.
They did this in the first place to get rid of Trump. They thought, no way this guy's going to last. They figured they'd get him impeached or somehow, and he wouldn't run again.
Yeah.
And he did, and then he got beat. And then they still carried on the same stories about Trump, how horrible he was, how he was tied in with Putin and Russia and all this. And they didn't understand that keeping this alive also kept the term limits alive on the cases.
That's absolutely
right. They might be brought up against them if they continue doing it. And guess what? They're still doing it. They're still doing it. They don't know. They're crazy. They're nuts. They don't know what they're doing now. They're completely blown it.
They're the people that gave these folks advice, I'm sure, never believed that this would go that far. I'm sure that they thought Trump would either be in jail or give up and say, hey, take this. I don't need any more of this headache. Donald Trump didn't give up. And the folks that gave the advice to these conspirators, if you will, were sure this thing was going to go away. You mentioned statute of limitations, 5 years, 7 years, and 10 years on the federal level, depending on the severity of the crime. They never thought this would get this far. They thought this would be buried, swept under the rug. We get a Democrat in the House or in the executive branch, it's all going to go away.
Sure.
None of that happened. And this thing blew up in their face, Dave. We've got the conspiracy still occurring to this day at this minute. All of that dirt from so many years ago is now valid to be used as evidence against them. I can hardly wait.
The mainstream media is becoming very critical of the Democratic Party. I mean, these guy. Who's the guy on TV that has his own show and he's been around? Anybody?
Cuomo?
No, Mayor. And he's taken on and he's taken on Newsom, or as Trump calls him, Newscom.
Yeah.
And he says this guy's an idiot. He can't run anything except his mouth.
As long as we're talking about Newsom and morons in the Democrat Party, Texas just passed, Texas Senate just voted on redistricting, which will amount to approximately 5 new seats, Republican-held seats. Okay, Newsom has said, we're going to do the same thing in California. We're going to offset this thing. Well, California has a commission. This is by law in California that does redistricting every 10 years. It actually occurs a year after the census data is released. Newsom said, no, we're going to scrap all of that. We're going to change all this. We're going to get 5 more Democrat seats.
Yeah.
Well, I was looking at some data the other day, and there's a whole bunch of Californians that are Republicans, about 40%. They're only represented by 8% in the legislature. Why? Due to gerrymandering, of course. Yeah. So Newsom, idiot that he is, this is a man that he's not quite as bad as Joe Biden, because Joe can't find the restroom. Newsom's got great looking hair, but the man is a terrible politician. He's going to get slapped down in the courts. It's going to happen because what he's attempting to do is illegal.
He's a terrible person. He's a terrible person. As a politician, he can get votes because he looks good, and he's got, as your point, and we're both bald. He has good hair. I mean, come on,
Well, yeah. Obviously, that's one of the qualifications to be governor of California. Have nice hair. Ronald Reagan had nice hair, although he was actually considerably better than Newsom.
God has arranged this so that we could tell the difference. I don't know how much anyone believes that the 2020 election these days was legit. There's got to be a total idiot or just blind to any of the evidence that's pounding on our doors every single day. More and more and more of it says that election was fixed, and that was supposed to be the end of Trump. Okay, yep. And what it did was, though, it showed you what the Biden Obama administration really was about. It was really about taking government and making us prisoners of things like COVID diseases and things like that, and couldn't object to any of that. Couldn't hardly object about anything without getting your business closed and stuff like. I mean, it's just terrible stuff, and it exposed them to the point that Trump, with a simple message of common sense, and using the MAGA phrase, "Make America Great Again," which how could that be bad? And they're
it's not like bad, is it, Dave?
People know that that's not evil. They know that. They're not stupid. So we're not stupid, and we elected this guy, and it just shocked the hell out of them. They don't know what to do.
It blew them away. Their approval ratings are tanked. Absolutely tanked.
What are they going to do now? What issue are they going to come up with other than the guy in Morandi or something like that in New York City, running for mayor, saying, "Well, we will take over the grocery stores and the police," and he's had to bite those words down a lot because of what's happening to the police in New York. So it's an incredible thing, and he's cleaning it up in D.C. right now, and New York is probably next.
Isn't that wonderful, Dave?
Oh my God! And the people love it. The liberals love being able to go out in D.C. without being afraid of their car being stolen, without being afraid of them being held up outside of a restaurant. I mean, how do you live like that?
You don't live well, do you?
Well, you live at home.
Yeah.
Or you may not live at home.
Speaking of our executive branch being manned by somebody who is substantially more powerful than the predecessor, what about Putin and the European leaders who came over here and had a little talk about the war in Ukraine? Consider this. Donald Trump gave them a phone call, and 48 hours later, they showed up on our doorstep.
Yeah.
Do you think they would have done that with Biden?
Hell no.
Nope.
Hell no. And they raised, this is, a lot of them are NATO countries. I don't know if all of them was NATO, but
The majority, yes.
the majority was NATO. But the NATO, because of Trump, raised what they were paying into NATO.
Mhm.
They more than doubled it. Okay, it was like it's $5 million or 5 billion. I don't know, $5 million each or $5 billion each.
It went from 2% of their GDP to 5%.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and that's substantial.
Yeah,
And now they're following him around like they're little puppy dogs.
like puppy dogs. Yeah, you know why?
He's my daddy.
You know, Donald Trump said to them quietly, not for public consumption, we have been funding this thing for decades,
Right.
and we're not going to fund it anymore.
Exactly.
So, if you would like the protection of the United States of America, you NATO countries, it's time to start shelling it out. Or when you have a problem, say from Russia, for instance, we're not going to help you. And they said, you know, I think this guy means business. His predecessors didn't. His predecessors were fools. But this guy is, he's dealing the cards from a position of power, and they recognize that. Hallelujah, Dave. We've needed this for so very long.
I mean,
so long.
Wow. I mean, I can't believe how things have turned around.
Isn't it something?
I read my columns from 2015 and about, figuring out that Obama early on is a communist. He's a blatant, utter communist who favors the killers of people like Hamas.
Look at his mentor, Jeremiah Wright. Way back when you and I were talking about Jeremiah Wright, I did a little bit of in-depth study on this clown, and he is a Marxist, bigoted, hate, race-baiting person. He's evil throughout, and this was a guy Obama learned from.
But he's a preacher. He's a minister.
Well, he claims to be, but I'll bet you a nickel that God doesn't lay claim to him.
Wow.
Can I toss another one in here, Dave? We're going to run up on
one more, because I got to kind of keep the clock going because I have one extra guy in there. Somehow.
We got about 3 minutes, and that's what this will.
All right, go ahead.
Our buddy Adam Schiff. Now, if you remember the impeachment trial in the House of Representatives, Adam Schiff was the standard bearer for Russia. Our president is colluded with the Russians and everything is bad. Democracy is going to die. Okay. Adam Schiff, and all of us knew this guy was a clown. All of us conservatives, anyway, were looking at him and saying, where did they get this moron? Well, those have turned too. It's karma again. Makes you want to convert to Buddhism. Adam Schiff is now being investigated for leaking classified information to his buddies in the press. And apparently they have found some memos that make it look like he sure as heck did that. Number two counts of mortgage fraud. Sounds like Letitia James all over again. This is a guy that claims his primary residence is both in California and whatever other state.
I think it was Maryland, but I'm not sure.
Whatever it is, some liberal hellhole in any case. It appears that the paperwork supports the fraud that they are claiming. And then this is the one that really kicks it. Within the Senate, there's an ethics probe on this guy from when he was a representative, House of Representatives. And apparently there are memos available there that suggest that this guy is something less than ethical. So Schiff has got 4 problems he's going to have to deal with on 4 separate fronts. Remember the awful things he did to Donald Trump?
Sure.
Doesn't this...
And he knew he was lying, and they have proof of that.
Yeah. Doesn't this thing swoop back around and slap him in the face? I can hardly wait to see how this
Is there a Democrat this doesn't swoop in the face other than a few of them?
Gee, I don't know.
Like the guy with
The party's ratings are so far in the tank, I'm not sure any Democrat could ever get elected again.
Well, that's what ought to happen. You're always going to have people that don't want to believe about it because they just can't do it. There's going to be a percentage of those, but you know what? I think Trump. I think they stole a lot of votes even in this election because they knew they couldn't afford Trump to win.
Oh, but he won, Dave.
He won. He killed it. All right. Now, if he were to run again, he'd probably overwhelm the electorate, except that's not going to happen, probably.
Nope. Can't happen.
We're going to have some decent follow-up with J.D. Vance and
Marco
Rubio, and they have a good bench.
Dave, I think this is wonderful.
The Democrats have nothing.
It looks better for our country today at this moment than it has in so many decades. I've been so depressed over those decades thinking the average guy on the street doesn't have a chance in this country. He's overtaxed. There's two separate sets of justice system here. We were screwed. And now we got a guy in there that has surrounded himself with patriots who believe in law and order and are pursuing law and order at every place you look. Dave, I've been smiling a lot lately.
Well, and the press conferences, the press are always there. I mean, they ought to love this. Even the liberal ones got to love the being in front of Trump and being able to ask all these questions. Some of them still stupid ones, but still they have access to him. Biden didn't have any of that.
If you remember, for decades, every single press conference was orchestrated.
Yeah.
And this thing is freeform. Heck, ask anything you want. I'll answer you.
All right.
Dave, we're up against the clock.
Let me read a few things from the board here, and then we got to go. Shannon Reed, good morning. TGI Dave. Rico Camino, a friend of Rick Henderson's. Good morning. Patricia Oden Maxwell sounding good, looking good. Go,
Pastor Pat.
Yes, and Roy Maddox. Good morning from Oklahoma. That's your buddy, right?
I'm sitting in his office right now.
Oh, okay. Well, tell him we say hey. And I'm glad we fixed all the problems with the crackling sounds.
Oh, they're not fixed. I just drove them away for a little while. Dave, we're up against the clock. It has been my pleasure as always.
Thank you so much. Let's all hear it for Jeffrey Bradshaw.
Thank you, Dave.
Thank you.
Good day.
All right, we're going to take a commercial here and go buy stuff where my sponsors are, please.
Your home is your castle. You don't need unwanted hassle. Don't let those creatures move in to stay. Let us protect your investments. That's what we're all about. Plank Termite and Pest Control will save the day. Plank is locally owned and family operated right here in Rolla, a Google preferred business. Our customer service and your satisfaction is our #1 goal. So call Plank today at 368-3333. Plank Termite and Pest Control will save the day.
Honey, what are you doing?
What does it look like I'm doing?
It looks like you're filling up a swimming pool.
Yep, I'm filling up a swimming pool.
In our living room?
How else am I going to watch the game and stay cool?
If your AC is on the fritz, call Hartley's Climate Control. Hartley's is the area's best in HVAC repairs, installs, and maintenance. Knowledgeable, honest, and dependable. Serving Rolla and the surrounding areas for commercial or residential needs. Hartley's Climate Control. Community born, community raised, community serving.
Call Hartley's Climate Control today at 573-368-3163.
Never be too coy to tell your friends and family about Koi Sushi and Hibachi. Celebrate the best Chinese-Japanese restaurant in the Midwest. Call 573-426-5551 to make a reservation or order takeout. Locally owned, 1808 North Bishop, Rolla, Missouri.
We can sum up McDonald's new crispy chicken sandwich in one word. Crispy, but also juicy and tender. Okay, it's crispy, juicy, tender. All one word? But then, also pickle. Oh, and potato bun, which is 2 words. Okay, we can't sum up our new crispy chicken sandwich in 1 word, so you'll just have to try it to understand it. Order ahead on the McDonald's app at participating McDonald's. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Merrill's Quarry and Asphalt, 40 years serving cities, counties, and everyday businesses with driveways for people who live and work in our little piece of heaven right smack dab in the middle of America. Call 573-578-9101 for your free estimate of rocking, rolling, paving, driveways, sealing, and striping too. That's 573-578-9101 for your free estimate.
Your home is your castle, you don't need unwanted hassle. Don't let those creatures move in to stay. Let us protect your investments, that's what we're all about. Plank Termite and Pest Control will save the day.
Plank is locally owned and family operated right here in Rolla, a Google preferred business. Our customer service and your satisfaction is our #1 goal. So call Plank today at 368-3333.
Plank Termite and Pest Control will save the day.
At your locally owned Price Chopper, our standards are high because we know yours are. See for yourself what an incredible fresh selection of grocery items we have in store. Talk to our expert meat associates about what you're looking for. They're happy to meet any special requests like custom cuts, or see our expert produce associates on how to pick out the best fruits and vegetables. Quality in the deli means fresh, full flavor, and always delicious. If you're craving fresh baked goodness, we have that too. You can expect the best selection and the best value while interacting with our friendly and knowledgeable employees. You can find what you're looking for fast and easily at the best prices at Price Chopper. Fresh savings every day.
Gotta reach 'em, sit 'em right down.
A-Car Real Estate, where experience matters. 532 million sold since 2003, the #1 sales volume in Phelps County. As a client for decades, I can say they are the best in mid-Missouri. Call 573-368-7355. That's 573-368-7355 for the best real estate experience you'll ever have.
Gotta reach 'em, sit 'em right down.
Insurance going up like crazy? Daniel and Henry Insurance is one of the largest private insurance companies in the world. Richard Boyette, 314-444-5011. He's my guy at Daniel and Henry for 10 years. Business or personal, call Richard at 314-444-5011. He's the best.
At Town & Country Bank, we've got all the perks of a national bank, like online banking, quick loan approval, and you can deposit your check from your phone. But that's not why our customers love us. They love us because we still offer hometown customer service. Stop by one of our 2 Rolla locations and let our friendly team remind you how special hometown banking can be. We're locally owned and will take the time to understand your needs. Smart, friendly solutions. Town & Country Bank. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
All right. We're almost back. We got something coming up. So, and it's going to be very short.
Yeah, and unfortunately what Facebook does is I had it all set up and then they will reset the page and then I have to go back and refine it again.
Okay. Well, all right. That's fine.
They like doing
well,
this
coming up very soon, we got the Rabbi coming up from Israel. Got a lot of things I want to ask him. It's really, well, the Bibi Netanyahu said he's getting ready to take over Gaza, you know, so that's going to be interesting. And I'm watching my stuff go around here. Yeah, I know it's in there somewhere. So
yeah,
we're going to figure this out. It's going to be a lot of fun. I mean, it's fun just searching the damn thing. You know, it's fun doing the show. Keep going. Keep going.
It's right after this one.
Okay, good. All right. Oh, there it is. There it is. I found it. Okay, this is rush hour at the sororities.
It's gonna be S&T is back in session here. So
Yeah. So watch us.
Like this, start with a track, eyes on me, watching my back, just like this, kill for the night, only by in, just keep watching, goes like this, on from the back, eyes on me, ain't like that, just like this, kill for the night, only by in, just keep watching.
I was dancing too, yes, and we have a handsome film coming up right now, and well, this guy is a wartime rabbi. Donations go for IDF widows, kids, living expenses. And my question is, will this war ever stop? We kept the rush dance going for you a little bit, Rabbi. So all the way from Israel, Rabbi Moshe Rothschild. How the hell are you?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you, Dave?
By the way, he's the author of Don't Tell Me, the Hebrew Secrets of the Hebrew Bible. Did I get it right?
That's right.
Yeah, thanks. All right, just checking. Okay, so is Iran a lot weaker than they present to the world? Because they act like they're tough, and they're going to still be mean, and they're still going to do what they want to do. Are they really that tough anymore?
No, Israel has degraded them dramatically, their capabilities. First of all, they have no air defenses anymore. Israel operated in the skies of Iran with impunity. They had no, after the first couple days, we took out all their air defenses. We decimated their ability to create and make drones. They went from firing hundreds of missiles in a day to one or two. So their capabilities have been dramatically degraded, but it's the nature of the Middle East, and particularly Iran, and to speak with great bravado as if they're strong, as if they're powerful, but they have nothing to back it up with. Because if they did, of course, they would not sit silently. They'd be attacking Israel right now. But they don't. They don't.
I mean, my question is this: they were always threatening this thing for the last 10, 15 years, and they never did anything. So
I think
we're going to drop a bomb. You're a one bomb, maybe two bomb country, and we're going to do it. And,
so
what the hell?
I think they were just biding time, trying to get a nuclear weapon. So we set them back a long time. And so now it's a lot of just huffing and puffing, a lot of bravado. But like I said in previous weeks, it's not over. Like, there probably will be another round with Iran. I don't think it's.
What about the Persians? Are they coming around? And the Persians, who are the indigenous people of Iran, what about them? Are they doing anything or what?
Well, Israel has been encouraging the local population. And it's, Obama had a chance and he let them down. Netanyahu this week did make some statements to the Persian population to it's time to take your country back. And we're waiting for that day. That'll be a very good day for the Middle East and for the world.
There's no end to the war until Hamas releases the hostages, right? Is that all the hostages, or what? Is that what he's saying now?
Look, it's very, very simple, and everyone's making this way too complicated. On October 7th, we were attacked. 250 hostages were taken. Women were raped. People were killed. Babies were murdered. And that war is still going on until those hostages are released, are freed. And if they're not going to be freed, then we'll continue to fight. We'll take more and more of Gaza. And as we saw this week, they called up another 60,000 soldiers this week. And, it'll be phased. It'll take place over a couple of weeks. Right. But we are going to begin, or have begun, the assault on Gaza City. And we're going to continue fighting if it means occupying all of Gaza, if it means taking all the major cities. And we will do that until the war is over. And when I say the war is over, meaning that we get our hostages back. That's how the war started. And it's really straightforward.
Now, let me do a critical thing here. This is absolutely right. This is absolutely doing the right thing.
Yeah.
And
Look,
you have to do this. I mean, I just don't understand.
Can you imagine in like World War II, the Allies saying, we're going to do the job 80%. No, you got to go to the end. You don't leave the Nazis in power. You don't leave the Third Reich, running the country.
Sure.
You got to go to the end.
You turn it back to the Third Reich? Is that what we're supposed to do?
Right. Look, I have a son in Gaza. Of course, I want the war to be over. Of course, I want him out. But we have to have a long view, because my family and my kids will be in danger once again if we don't press on with this war.
Your future grandkids and great grandkids.
Correct. The time has come to end this nonsense and get rid of Hamas.
End this. And I still don't know how you're going to get anyone to take Hamas people, but you say that'll happen. That it's
there are negotiations, I saw with Sudan, with some other countries, but we'll see. We'll see what happens.
The European countries say they want them. They're out of their minds, but okay. I think you should deliver them. I think you should fly them over. Okay.
Send them and
bring them to London. Bring them to Germany, Berlin. Let them deal with that after what they
Drop
did.
them off.
Sure.
100%.
So Jordan is reinstating its military draft amid tensions with Israel. What the hell are they doing?
Well, you got to understand that Jordan is 90% Palestinians. The ruling party are called the Hashemites.
90% Palestinians. What is a Palestinian?
Well, when I say Palestinian, I'm just using it as the way the world uses it. Because remember, in 1967, 1948, the Arabs living in Jordan and the Arabs living in Israel were the same. It was the same people. So when they talk about, quote unquote, a Palestinian state, there already is one. It's called Jordan. And so there was no country of Palestine with an Arab leadership, an Arab government. It never existed. It's a fantasy. It's a fiction. And so I use the word only because, the listeners and everyone in the world seems to use that word. But Jordan is ruled by a minority, and they're afraid because in Syria you had the same situation, and look what happened in Syria. So, they have to placate the masses of people. And very often the king of Jordan does things that is not necessarily in Israel's interest or favor, even though we have a treaty with them, because he's got to keep those people happy. He's terrified of being thrown out, just like Assad was in Syria. So, I don't know what's really going on. It could just be, a lot of saber rattling.
Is he afraid of Israel, or is he afraid of...
I think he's afraid of his own people.
His own people.
Yeah, he's afraid of his own people.
He's afraid of the Muslims, isn't he?
Yeah, and he's got to, do this saber rattling, which is going to, in his estimation, quiet his population as if they're, ready to go to war. But look at what happened with Iran. Jordan allowed Israel to operate in Jordanian airspace. When push came to shove, Jordan helped shoot down Iranian missiles. And we know whose side they were on against Iran.
So they're against the mullahs, and but they got to keep it secret. Why is beyond me, because eventually you gotta show your cards and say, hey, we're not putting up with this crap, because it's going to happen after a while. That's their strategy, is to keep going and going and going until they finally get you.
Yeah, that's correct. And I don't know, but I think it might have been Netanyahu who's the one who said, the way a lot of the Arab countries deal with Israel is that they're like the mistress that you don't talk about. We have a relationship with them, but it's all under the radar. And then came along Donald Trump with the Abraham Accords, and a lot of those relationships now, we're no longer the level of the mistress. We became, the spouse. Of course, that was interrupted by this October 7th war. But that was all part of the plan from Hamas.
Yeah.
They didn't want Saudi Arabia signing on to the Abraham Accords or any other country for that matter.
Now, Ambassador Huckabee, this is a quote from him. European leaders gave Hamas cover. Did they all do that, or was there anybody there saying this is horrible for Israel? And did anyone talk about what happened on October the 7th, 23?
Yeah.
Did anyone talk about it?
Look, you definitely had some European country, like in the Netherlands, for example, the opposition leadership, even in England, the opposition, but the leading powers there are ready to support a Palestinian state. It's like imagine giving the Nazis, give them a state. It's such an absurdity.
It's like Belgium telling the Nazis, "We'll give you a state here." You know, and that's what they're saying. Look at Ireland. Even Ireland's turning into that.
Countries, they don't even recognize Taiwan. As they won't recognize Taiwan, right? Because they broke away from China. Like I think we should give Taiwan advice. Let China invade and rape and murder your people, and then then maybe or the other way around. Let Taiwan invade China and rape and murder a bunch of Chinese people, and then we'll recognize Taiwan. It's like they're just rewarding terror.
So we got these people in our own House and Senate. This guy's in the House, I believe. He's a Jewish Democrat, Jamie Raskin, and he backs the bill to kill arms to Israel. In other words, to get rid of the arms for Israel.
To stop providing Israel.
Which one in the Democratic Party, especially the Jews, are backing Israel and not backing Hamas?
I mean, look, the Democratic Party, like Dave, you and I have been discussing this for years now. They are, this is not the party that my parents and my grandparents supported. The Democratic Party was very pro-Israel, pro-Jewish, and it was very comfortable for American Jewish immigrants. However, that has shifted dramatically. Now, a lot of young Jews are connected to the Republican Party. Not enough, but a lot. And the Democratic Party has let us down, and they're turning into a home for anyone who wants to hate Israel. They can join the Democratic Party, and even guys like Chuck Schumer has been a disaster. Let alone Bernie Sanders. These are Jewish guys, and they're operating against Israel.
But Jews seem to have been smitten with communism at a certain point, and with socialism, Marx.
It's also that's definitely a part of it. But Jews also, a lot of these very secular Jews have spent a lot of time wanting to integrate, to be like the non-Jews. And they don't wear their Jewish badge with pride like Black people do, like Italians, even gay people, that they take their identity and they say, I'm not going to subsume it. I'm going to walk around with pride. But somehow Jews say, you know what? I just want to be like everybody else, and everyone just leave me alone. And they think if they bend over backwards and they oppose Israel, that they're just going to be accepted into and it isn't true. Non-Jews.
That would have been so easy to do here. Look, like this. I never did that. Now, it took a while for us to understand each other, but when we did, I'm fine. I mean, I think I'm the only guy who's Jewish in the country club, and I don't have any problems there. And if I do,
because
if I think one of them is threatening me, I let them have it.
Look, our non-Jewish friends and neighbors, they respect when you have a sense of pride and esteem in who you are. Instead of trying to hide it and trying to become and pretend you're something else, it never works. But you have, unfortunately, many Jews like that. And they have to demonstrate how non-Jewish they are by opposing Israel, by bending over backwards. And that's what's happening. they're afraid to be. This started in the 1800s. When you had people like leaders of the Jewish Reform movement who said, "Be a Jew at home and a non-Jew on the street." That doesn't work. It doesn't
your wife,
go.
whose ancestry goes back to Poland, had an interesting story about them being there almost a 1,000 years and
Yeah.
getting along great with all the Polish Christians, and they were just friends and all that. And suddenly the Germans show up and they ID'd all the Jews, all these buddies for over a
In
century,
a heartbeat.
around a century. In a heartbeat, they're putting them out.
You're gone.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Look, we have a very complicated relationship with the non-Jewish world. If you look historically, Theodor Herzl, who was not an observant or religious Jew, he wanted to found the state of Israel because he saw it as a way to escape anti-Semitism. You don't want us, you don't like us, no problem. Just we'll leave, we'll make our own state and leave us alone and finish.
It's not like we didn't have a stake in it. It's only one being that said, "This is the land for the Jews," and that's who? God.
Yeah, of course.
What are the land out there that God says, "This is your land"?
There's none, of course.
There's none. All right.
Yeah.
So we've got some pretty good creds in terms of going to Israel, and in fact, we're
100%.
short on the boundaries that God gave us. Yeah.
100%.
If you believe Judea and Samaria are Israel, doesn't that mean that Arabs there are occupying it?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, that's the truth. The true occupiers. All right. I mean, you're 100% right. The true. What do they call it?
Yeah.
I mean, they call it the West Bank.
The West Bank.
They refer to it as the West Bank.
How long before that was it named Judea and Samaria?
Judea and Samaria is 4,000 years old.
Exactly my point.
The West Bank is.
Why do we let people get away with that? Why do we let people get away with renaming what God said it ought to be?
Yeah,
seriously,
it's you're 100% right.
Right.
It's not just words,
Right, I'm going to become a rabbi. I think it's a little too late in life for me to do that. So me and Netanyahu are Trump says this. Me and Netanyahu are war heroes against the Iranians and Hamas. Do you think he is?
Of course.
Heroes? I do too.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
And
I think I want to just add something here. It's very important for people to understand. This is not a war of Israel versus Hamas or Israel versus Hezbollah, Israel versus Iran. This is a war of good versus evil. That's it. It's as simple as that. And so whatever side you're on, you're either on the side of evil or the side of good. There's nothing in the middle. And if you don't support Israel and you're supporting the other side, then you are on the side of evil.
Absolutely.
It's really as simple as that.
Rabbi, do you have any rabbi rants or scoops?
I do not.
Well, you've told me a lot of what pisses you off. And
yeah, I did. I have.
When are you going to start be able to do tours and things like that again?
You know what? Right now, tourism is pretty much dead. People book and then they cancel. They book, they cancel. That seems to be what's going on. But the truth is, I'm full time. I'm working. We're supporting 170 widows. Right. I wouldn't even have time right now.
Well, speaking of that, other than Dave Weinbaum Show, where can people contribute and buy your book?
Well, they can buy the book, secretsofthehebrewbible.org. And if they want to go to our website, they can go to israelalliance.org or facebook.com/Israel Alliance. We'd love to hear from you guys.
If a Jewish baker marries his sister, is he in challah bread twice?
Jewish baker.
What? I can't see his reaction. Oh,
I don't get it.
Okay. Okay. Never mind. He doesn't get it. Okay. All right.
I don't get it.
It's just really.
If a baker marries
What
his
do you
sister,
know
is
from
in
funny,
twice.
you bastard?
If a baker marries his sister, is he in twice? If he is he inbred twice?
You're not making it better.
I was trying to
inbred. Okay.
I
got
was
it.
trying
got
to
it.
make a similar joke that would be Jewish. That would be
got it.
Be something that you would understand.
I'm with you.
All right,
I got it.
Well, then give me another shot at that, will you?
No.
Come on.
What do you know from funny, you bastard?
Yeah. That's from a Jewish Eddie Murphy. All right, Rabbi. Shabbat
Got
shalom.
it.
Hi to all the people.
All right, guys.
Family and that kid of you that's still fighting this war. Okay.
Absolutely.
Hopefully it gets over. Okay. And you're doing the right stuff though. It'll never be over until you make it over.
Exactly.
And I think God's behind
100%.
you, and may He stay forever behind you. All right.
Yeah. 100%. All right, guys. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
All the best.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, so we're back on air, and do we have time for? Well, Bill is always late. He's supposed to be here, isn't he?
He said he was on his way.
Oh, he's on his way. Good. Do a commercial. I knew this would happen. Yeah, I knew it. He's always 5 minutes late. Do the commercial.
Your home is your castle. You don't need unwanted hassle. Don't let those creatures move in to stay. Let us protect your investments. That's what we're all about. Plank Termite and Pest Control will save the day. Plank is locally owned and family operated right here in Rolla, a Google preferred business. Our customer service and your satisfaction is our #1 goal. So call Plank today at 368-3333. Plank Termite and Pest Control will save the day.
With warmer temperatures right around the corner and allergies ramping up, now's the time to get those AC units serviced. At Hartley's, we pride ourselves in offering outstanding service with fast response times. With proper maintenance, you can make those hot days be a lot cooler and remove those pesky allergens that always seem to find their way into your home. Call us today so you can be living a much cooler and healthier life. Hartley's, community born, community raised, community serving.
Call Hartley's Climate Control today at 573-368-3163.
Never be too coy to tell your friends and family about koi sushi and hibachi. Celebrate the best Chinese-Japanese restaurant in the Midwest. Call 573-426-5551 to make a reservation or order takeout. Locally owned, 1808 North Bishop, Rolla, Missouri.
We can sum up McDonald's new crispy chicken sandwich in one word. Crispy. But also juicy and tender. Okay, it's crispy, juicy, tender. All one word. But then, also pickle. Oh, and potato bun, which is 2 words. Okay, we can't sum up our new crispy chicken sandwich in one word, so you'll just have to try it to understand it. Order ahead on the McDonald's app at participating McDonald's. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Merrill's Quarry and Asphalt, 40 years serving cities, counties, and everyday businesses with driveways for people who live and work in our little piece of heaven right smack dab in the middle of America. Call 573-578-9101 for your free estimate of rocking, rolling, paving, driveways, sealing, and striping too. That's 573-578-9101 for your free estimate.
Your home is your castle. You don't need unwanted hassle. Don't let those creatures move in to stay. Let us protect your investments. That's what we're all about. Plank Termite and Pest Control will save the day. Plank is locally owned and family operated right here in Rolla, a Google preferred business. Our customer service and your satisfaction is our #1 goal. So call Plank today at 368-3333. Plank Termite and Pest Control will save the day.
Busy schedule? Let your locally owned Price Chopper help you save time with online shopping. It's easy. Sign up to tcmarkets.com or download our mobile app in the App Store or Google Play. Create an account and browse through the categories and choose the items you need. When you place your order, your personal shopper will get all of the items you've selected, taking the same care you would and following your notes. We offer free curbside pickup, so you don't even have to get out of your car. Start your online order today and no online shopping fee for a limited time. Go to tcmarkets.com or download our mobile app to get started. Price Chopper. Fresher savings every day. A-Car Real Estate, where experience matters. 532 million sold since 2003, the #1 sales volume in Phelps County. As a client for decades, I can say they are the best in mid-Missouri. Call 573-368-7355. That's 573-368-7355 for the best real estate experience you'll ever have.
Gotta reach 'em, see it right now.
Insurance going up like crazy? Daniel and Henry Insurance is one of the largest private insurance companies in the world. Richard Boyette, 314-444-5011. He's my guy at Daniel and Henry for 10 years. Business or personal, call Richard at 314-444-5011. He's the best.
Maybe it's for a kitchen you've always wanted. Maybe it's just to have a little extra room. Whatever the reason you're considering a new home loan, it's good to know that Town & Country Bank will guide you in the right direction. Our experienced local lenders are here to help you with a new home construction, remodeling projects, and fixed and adjustable rate home loans. You can even start the process online by clicking Online Mortgage Center at tcbanks.com. Smart, friendly solutions. Town & Country Bank. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Okay, we're back. And we're back with a wonderful person here, a great politician, a great Iraqi platoon leader, National Guard, state representative running for Senate here in Missouri. He's a philosopher, professor, now a podcaster. In his spare time, he climbs ropes in gyms. Bill Hardwick.
You guys are too kind. The entourage is just too much. Thank you guys.
Yeah, you're okay. You're not nervous about all these people listening in, are you?
At this point, you're used to it. After a while, you just the applause. It's background noise.
I've never been used to it. I work on it all the time.
That's exactly. Once you get complacent, you start to fade.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. It keeps me on edge. I try to be a little better every week. We're trying stuff here. Sometimes it's failing, sometimes not, but I can see the future.
It's exactly my thing. I've got a vision, but we're going to try some stuff. Some things are going to work. Some things aren't going to work.
Yeah.
We're going to keep going forward with our plans.
Yeah. And you don't wreck your base of belief to get to where you are. You use your base of belief to stay loyal to it so people can see that you're loyal to what you say.
Yeah.
And not change with the tide.
Yeah, you got to stand for something. I was thinking about that. You got to be something. I was thinking about that in terms of elected officials. Like some people go, well, they need to get meaner. And some people are like, well, they need to be nicer. And I'm like, I don't really care if you're mean or nice. I just want you to stand for something.
Exactly. And that's what you got to call a rhino.
Yeah.
Isn't it? It's somebody that, they go along with the program until they get a little heat or they get a little somebody buying them off. Something happens and then they turn around and they bite where they came from.
Rhino gets thrown around a lot. They say rhino a lot, but I got my own personal definition of it because I think it's a thing. I think it's when they don't believe what the conservatives or Republicans believe. They're just pretending to so they can get elected.
Yeah.
That's what I think. A rhino to me is somebody who's like, they may not be really pro-life. They may not be really pro-Second Amendment. They may not like Donald Trump, but they kind of give it lip service and act like it because they want to win the election.
Right.
And then when they get there, they're doing everything they can to like stop the conservative stuff from happening.
Yeah.
So that's what Rhino is to me.
Yeah, I don't think there are as many as there are, but there's still some. And if there are many of them, they're not speaking about it right now because Trump has gotten rid of that kind of talk for the most part.
I still think Trump's revolutionary. He had a revolutionary version his first term. He's got a revolutionary thing now.
Right.
With how much we've reformed the government. It's just like cutting the waste, getting kind of rid of the woke stuff. And there's been big changes he's done in the government his last few years.
Big common sense stuff too.
I think
amazing.
Yeah, I think cutting taxes and then find ways to cut the deficit.
Yeah.
And cutting spending is kind of common sense stuff. That's good. The foreign policy, asserting America, having a plan, a strategy with China, that's stuff we should have been doing forever.
Yeah.
Trying to end the war in Ukraine. I mean, that can't go on forever. We've got to end that war somehow. So.
Yeah. Anyways, so you and Don Mayhew, let me refresh some of the people out there. I have never done this before, I don't think. Have I? No. In 17 years of doing this. You and Don Mayhew did a great job on July the 4th.
Right.
And yet, when I had him on the show, he would not remember or not say your last name, Hardwick.
Yeah, it's a good last name, Hardwick.
I'm a little bit upset about it, but I hope he's listening right now.
Look,
I mean, how dare you not do that? He was your buddy. Come on, man.
really, really water under the bridge as far as I'm concerned.
He did call you his good friend, though.
Yeah,
he's my good friend.
Yeah, Bill's my good friend. I said, "What's his last name?" But he's my good friend. I said, "I know that. What's his last name?" And he wouldn't say it. It's Hardwick. Okay, fine.
That was a good show.
Yeah,
and I went on this. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Go ahead. No. Go.
I went on this rant about how people are getting sick and. They're making the environmental factors that the companies are causing people to get sick, pharmaceutical companies, drug companies, and they don't really care that people are chronically ill because all these chemicals I think we're putting in the environment. And then a buddy of mine, Nick Schroer, he made it into an AI baby talking, and I'll send it to you. But it's like me as a baby going like, why are people so sick? Like we got to take a stand.
I want to see that.
Yeah, I'll send it to you.
I can't believe that. Find the baby Trump thing.
If you like it, you can post it on your thing. Yeah.
While we're doing this. Yeah. Hey, so I want to what's the matter?
It's so loud in my.
Oh, is it? Oh, his ears.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry about that. So you didn't turn everyone else down because I like being a loudmouth.
Only Bill's.
So
thank you.
So the fundraiser. Let's do this again. I've never done anything like that. Never.
You've never done a political fundraiser before?
No.
Okay.
Ever. Never even gone to one. I don't think. And it was a fundraiser.
Yeah.
I guess so.
Yeah, we went to like barbecues and stuff.
Yeah,
Pulaski
but
County and
I don't know. I guess they're all fundraisers then. Yeah. I wasn't aware of it, but I was never the main guy, like, introducing people and sponsoring it. Yeah, and you were a big help. She put all the
Lisa
tables
was
together.
Amazing.
Yeah,
we're ever
she did a great job.
Lisa, thank you.
Now I want you to write this down and remember this for later when you say, "I never said anything nice to you."
all right, I'm ready.
Okay, good. Write it down. The fundraiser, because it has to come back. All right. The fundraiser was the best you've ever seen. Is that correct?
That was the best. Yeah, I think there ever was one.
Yeah, and I felt good vibes about it through it. Cause I don't know what to do with that stuff. I mean, and I thought I was decent enough.
I thought you were great.
Thank you.
I appreciate the venue. I thought the McDonald's was a big hit. Everybody know the tea and the burgers and the McChickens. People were just they were loving it, really.
Yeah,
but they were it was great.
Loving it.
And fed into Donald Trump serving at McDonald's.
Wait. We got to put the sound on for this. Okay, we got to do this. Hopefully you can hear this. I'm praying you can hear this. All right, this is the kind of thing.
Platform. But Americans are not struggling. This is the worst platform. Who put this stage up here? This is the worst. The freaking place is falling down. I noticed it keeps tilting further left. Like too many other things. But America.
I'll play it over again. I just go ahead. Play it over again. Okay, that's good. Is that funny or what?
Yeah,
I mean, how do they do that?
Yeah.
And you're going to have that done to you? AI?
It's already been done. I'll send it to you.
Send it to me. I'll play it.
You can look at it.
Yeah. Are you as funny as that?
It's funny and it's adorable.
Yeah.
So
heartwarming. Yeah. Well, yes, you are adorable, Bill. If you really want to know,
I'm just trying.
You're just an adorable guy.
I'm trying not to be biased.
You're just a sweetie pie. Look at this.
I think objectively,
he's a tough guy. He's out there in Iraq and he's in the war and
climbing these ropes.
Now he's a nice guy, and we can see him as a baby. Isn't that sweet?
You got to let people know that
you serious, Clive?
Okay. So, I want to thank you for personally what I thought was one of the greatest speech I've ever seen. One of all the greatest speeches I've ever seen is standing up to abolish the knowledge that we were a abortion state.
Yeah,
and acknowledge that you were never for this, and that you had a great vote backup of 71%. And somehow they some of those people voted for the abortion state.
Right, in my district.
Yeah.
I think it's like we're talking about. You don't want to be mean. You don't got to be nice, but you got to believe in something and say what you think is right and wrong. And I think that life is something that we should stand up for. And that amendment that's going to the ballot, there are even some pro-life groups who criticize it because in there it has exceptions. And I don't agree with those. But I think that what's good about it is the legislature can continue to regulate abortion and ban abortion altogether. And that was the pathway, to me, the most viable pathway to us becoming a fully pro-life state again. And so I wanted to support that. But I also think that our life mattering is a big deal, and what we say about any human being, somebody who's older, somebody who's disabled, says a lot what we think about every human being, So I think that's something we should stand for. Talk about rhinos. There are some Republicans who I don't feel are really pro-life necessarily. But I think that is a big issue in the Republican Party, that the Republican Party's always been the party of freedom since Abraham Lincoln and the abolition of slavery, and we're the party of life. So, party of freedom and the party of life is a good party to be part of. And those are two good values to stand for, I think.
Yeah. Now, here's a good example of the lawfare that was going on. The Trump family suddenly lost their banking privileges by order of the Biden administration. That's come up as something that even Melania got herself canceled from the banks, you know. And this is the kind of thing. Now they're finding out that there was actually they were actually told you better shut down their accounts by the Biden administration. Now, and we're still going through a period of where they're looking at stuff. As you know, this morning, probably John Bolton wasn't arrested, but they accused him of having classified papers, spying maybe, and that's straight from Kash Patel, FBI.
Mm-hmm.
So what are your thoughts on this? Is this just retaliation, or is this a little different than retaliation?
Well, I'm going to try to give a comprehensive view of it. When I think about things like the Trump's bank accounts being shut down, it makes me think a lot about the social credit stores in China, actually, where if you want to fly on an airplane, if you want to run a business, if you want to transact stuff, if you want to be able to do all these things in China, you've got to be a good citizen. And you're a good citizen because you don't criticize President Xi, because you what you say online is acceptable. The way you talk is, you're somebody the state wants you to be. And I think that's super scary. And I think a lot of people don't realize how close we are in America to being something like that. Think about how close any one of us is to being shut down. You say things you don't like, you get censored on Facebook, on Twitter. It happens all the time. That's why you started to broadcast. People went to go broadcast on Rumble. Just a matter of time. When people said there was a monopoly on social media, they went and started their own thing. Remember that, like in 2021?
Right.
Then that got shut down by the
Yeah.
ISP providers, by Amazon, by Apple. So there is kind of like, and then it's the same thing with banking. The Canadian truckers refused to take the COVID vaccine. Their bank accounts were frozen. That's how they got to them. They seized them. So there's a big problem with this linkage between you think you're politically free and personally free, but the government and the banking industry has the ability to shut you down as fast as they want to. That more and more of your life, and just even your thoughts, the way you think, the way you believe on things, opine on things, more and more that's even being monitored and taken into account if you're a good citizen. So I think that's a huge problem, for one. I think that we really need to be able to say, you can have political freedom in this country. You can say, pretty much whatever you want about criticizing the government, take your political positions about things like we're talking about life, about the Second Amendment, about COVID, about the mandates, about the future pandemics that we think are coming. You should be able to express dissent and thoughts about those without any financial, government regulatory retaliation or law enforcement retaliation. Now, Bolton, I am nervous about that a little bit. Now, that could be that he did take classified documents inappropriately. But I also worry about the FBI continuing to raid high-profile political figures, just like I didn't like it with Donald Trump at all. I thought that was inappropriate.
They're coming out and saying this was strictly something trying to pin him on by dumping on him with something. There was no unclassified information in there.
Or no classified. I think that. Let me say it a different way. I taught a class on the Fourth Amendment yesterday to some police officers on the constitutional law, and about how the home is a sacred place. It should be like in the Constitution, it's like your sanctuary.
Yeah.
And for the government to come into your home and kick down the door and go through your stuff.
Yeah.
That's a very, very big deal.
Sure.
Right. And so that's why the Bill of Rights is written. Think about this, and what I was talking about with social credit scores. Think about why we have a Bill of Rights. There was a constitution that had the structure and powers of the government, and it delineated those things. And the Federalists wanted it adopted, but the Anti-Federalists were like, "Hey, there's some problems here. We're afraid that we'll repeat exactly what King George did to us."
Yeah.
What did King George do to the colonists? They spoke out. They said, "I don't like the king's policy.
Yeah.
I have a different religion from the Church of England.
Yeah.
I think that this trade policy, tax policy is bad." Yeah. And then back then, the British soldiers were the civil authority. The army was the police. The British soldiers broke into their homes.
Right.
They took their guns out of their homes and they rummaged through their papers.
Yeah.
And they said, "What are you writing? What are you reading? What are your notes?" And they went to their stuff, their personal effects.
And they actually lived in their houses.
They took
over the houses.
"This is my house now."
Yeah.
And then if they wanted to, anybody who the king didn't like could be charged with anything, which is like today. If you want to if you lie to the FBI, right? The same thing, right?
Sure.
They find a crime on you. And then they had like this perfunctory kangaroo court system. The person was in jail as long as the king wanted him to be. And the founders really didn't like that. That was a huge human abuse, they thought. So what are the caveats to the Constitution? The freedom of speech, the freedom of religion. No state religion should be established. Freedom of speech, right? Right to redress your government, petition your government. The right to keep and bear arms should not be infringed. And no generalized warrant. Except upon issue on probable cause, particularly describing the things to be searched, the things to be seized, and the places to be searched, right? So they said specific warrant. You can go to the home if there's probable cause. You're saying exactly what you're looking for, where you're looking for it. And then there's all these due process rights about the no double jeopardy, right to an attorney, right against compulsible testimony. That whole string of Bill of Rights is a response to how King George prosecuted his political enemies, right?
And for the last 4 years at least, we have been subjected to that unconstitutional kind of treatment, haven't we?
Exactly. I should be able to criticize my government. I should be able to have religious beliefs and say, here's what I believe about God. And I can express that. And I can criticize the crown, the powers that be, the authority. And you can't come take my gun away. And you can't come go through my house and go through my papers and effects. And we have a little case law too. Back in the 1700s, they wrote, they had those big letters and they had the stamp and stuff like that. But the equivalent we have now is our smartphones, right? And so that's why there's a privacy protection in smartphones in your home. This is our papers, right?
Yeah.
And we don't have big filing cabinets with our thoughts and diaries. We have a smartphone. that it does chronologize our thoughts because all the text that we send to people and stuff, and that's protected by the Fourth Amendment. So I think that okay, and I'm also a soldier, so I also have a belief in protecting our country and having national security and defending our country from our enemies, right, and making sure that we're safe. I believe in that, but I also know that there's a reason why that there were caveats to government power back in the 1700s. And those caveats are more relevant today, I think, than they've ever been. And I want the President of the United States, I want the Director of the FBI, I want every U.S. attorney, I want every judge in this country to say there are boundaries on the jurisdiction of government power into how you can prosecute your political enemies and what you could do. And that's very, very important. So I want us just to uphold that. I don't know what the warrant says. I don't know what the FISA warrant would say for Espionage Act, but I want to make sure that they uphold the Constitution.
Now, as a political document like the Constitution, have you seen anything better than this? And we have to realize that this is just words on a paper, on whatever it is they put it on, and wonder if other documents were formed in other countries at other times that were great documents, and yet people eventually overrode them.
Yeah, that's right. Well, there's no country like ours ever been. That's where we talk about American exceptionalism.
Yeah.
And I view that as the history of the world is this brutality, Hobbesian state of nature. Eventually, this brutality consolidates into a unified despot, a crown, a monarch, right? An absolutist government. And so what's unique about America was instead of being ruled by that power structure, this concentrated absolutist government, we're ruled by law, these principles that here's how we divide power between the executive, legislative, and judicial branches, between the state and federal government. That division of power is important too. And then we have these things that they're like these rights that we never said come from government. They're called negative rights because we say we're making a law against the government intruding upon them. The Congress shall not. The right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. No warrant shall issue. That's why I call them negative. We're saying government, you can't do this, right? That's what makes America exceptional. If you look back in the history of the world, the Magna Carta is pretty important, right? The Torah is pretty important as a government structure, how it sets up a judicial system, right? Like that goes back to ancient Israel, like the way they structure a system of justice. You can even read about, like Solomon kind of being the body of that, with the two women who claim it's her baby, and he's arbitrating. But even then, that's an example of the judicial branch.
You can't split the baby in half.
That's where split the baby comes from.
Or he was going to do it, and they said, no, stop. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, no, he was having just a way. He's a good litigator, had a way of figuring out the truth, right? Proving the truth. But it's also an example of the executive branch and judicial branch being consolidated. So, the idea that America goes, okay, we'll take power, which is the capacity to do violence and to break into your home, right, kick down your door. We'll take it and we'll compartmentalize it. So this unit has just this power. This unit has just this power. And that way it's not unified in a way that's going to become oppressive. That's like the idea of the American governmental system, right? The president has certain power, but he can't declare war. He can't appropriate money, right? The states have certain power, but they don't have international treaty power, right? Like we've divided the power up. That seems like what we want to do. We want to make sure that we're defending our country. That's why we have an executive branch. That's really why there's a president. The president's there because in case we get invaded by a foreign country and to deal with other countries, right? That's why they envisioned George Washington. They thought the British were coming back. So they're like, we need a strong executive to protect our country, to be the guardian of the country. Cool. But his powers are limited, and they should be especially limited domestically.
Yeah.
The presidency was not intended to be weaponized against people in their everyday lives. They thought that people in their everyday lives should be run by the states and the local governments, right?
Pretty much,
Go to your city, go to your town hall, back then, the town meeting, and talk about what your town wants to do. And the president has nothing to do with that. That was kind of the vision the founders.
Of course, now you have, but you have situations like in D.C., for example, where people are getting killed. That's the capital of the country. So Trump, you would seem to say, would have executive rights to go in there and fix the problem.
Yeah, different.
Which he is doing.
Well, okay, different things that work there for using the National Guard in D.C. First of all, if you're talking about the use of the militia in the country at large, the president does have some constitutional powers, invasion and insurrection. And there's statutory versions of that, like the Insurrection Act, right?
Yeah.
The president's ability to federalize the National Guard. There's a bunch of other statutory exceptions. DC is different. Think about what DC is. DC was, they said, we want to have the U.S. Capitol not within the jurisdiction of a state.
Right.
Because we have a state authority over the federal government.
Yet the Democrats want it as a state. I have to interrupt you right now
Sure.
because I have my next guest coming on, and you're welcome to stay, by the way. But he thinks he knows everything, this guy. And obviously he's right most of the time or some of the time. This man is, and I hope you do stay because he's good. I think you're going to like him. I can't stand him, but I think you'll like him. He's a Sicilian brought up in Wyoming. What does that mean? So see, it's surprising that that he's a pizza loving conservative. And that doesn't make a lot of sense too in Wyoming. Please welcome Chris Adamo. Chris, do you know Bill Hardwick?
Oh, of course. Good to see you, Bill.
How are you doing?
Right, good.
I like pizza too.
Yeah.
Hey,
I
if you want the best
to
pizza,
the fundraiser, and he didn't just blew it off.
If you want the best pizza in the country, Bill, Cheyenne, Wyoming, Mondello's Pizza. I'm telling you, it's the best. I've already told Dave. I said if he goes there and he has it, and it's not the best he's ever had, I'll pay for it.
No, you're going to pay for it because I'm sending you a bill for the ad you just ran.
Of course, this is Dave. I won't mention the side of Dave that will try and jump on a deal. He'll lie about it just to get the free pizza. But anyway, that's okay.
That was terrible.
That was an ethnic joke, but I have to listen to enough Italian ethnic jokes. I figured it was a time to throw.
What do you mean Italian ethnic jokes?
Oh man,
what are you talking about?
I'm talking about
we're all in the same boat. The Jews and the Italians.
Yeah,
forget about it. Come on, forget about it.
I've never had a gefilte fish pizza, but one of these days I might.
Oh God, that doesn't sound well. Maybe it's salty, so why not? That might work. What the hell? You put don't you put like fish on?
Some people do. They put anchovies on there, and I can't handle anchovies on pizza.
Yeah, anchovies, right? So Tom MacDonald, he is. Let me read this again. Tom MacDonald. Took me a quarter of a song to figure out what the heck he was singing about. The Devil's a Democrat, and can you explain why that's on your Facebook account?
Yeah, somebody sent me that video. I'll be honest with you, that ain't my kind of music, but it was interesting.
I was figuring, what the hell's this doing on his Facebook thing? And then
I'm more
get into the singing, you get into the message. He's actually pro-Trump.
Yeah, exactly. I'm a little bit more into Rachmaninoff and Brahms and Tchaikovsky, but
quit showing off. What are you kidding me about?
It's the fact is there is a backlash going on. The left is this is who they always were. This is the critical thing we need to understand in all of it. This is who the left always was. But now they feel a little bit more emboldened to show it. And we've got examples all over the place this week. If you want, I've got my notes for the week here. And I'll tell you what, I started writing this morning. I usually get on and what's the latest thing on the news? And it's just overflowing. I could have filled several pages, and it's amazing what's going on. But the big thing to understand about the left, and if we can get JP to hold up that really, really good book people need to be buying there.
Yeah,
thank you, JP.
On the site where you're now.
Can he see that?
Yeah, he can see. Can you see that?
Yep, I can see it right up there in the corner. They're right next to this really, really handsome guy. that I'm not sure who that is. Oh, it's Dave. Okay.
No, don't flatter me like that. It's not working.
Anyway, but
Hardwick.
yeah, things are going off the rails this week.
His name is Hardwick. He wanted you to know that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there's Bill there. Yeah, there's another one right there. Okay. So and there's a lovely lady back in the corner there who has to put up with all of this.
Wife, Lisa, yes.
Paragon of patience. But anyway, my chapter 1.
Yeah.
I talk about, and I realized that this needs to be the foundation for the whole thing. Understanding who leftists are. That's what the first thing you got to do is understand who they are, because only when you understand who they are can you actually start connecting the dots of, okay, this is how they operate, and then this is how to defeat them.
Well, what's
the
the
number
difference
one
between the left and rhinos? Are they the same?
Oh, one of them's honest. That one of them's the ones that admit that they're Democrats and leftists are honest to the degree that they admit who they are. The rhinos are pretenders, and we could talk big time about the rhinos in the midst of all this. Matter of fact, got things to go to. But getting back to finish my point there is you got to understand the arrogance of these people. How do they do such inane things, such just absurd things, and believe that people are going to just fall for it? It's the arrogance.
That's the question of the hour. How do they go into a next election, and what do they have, and who's going to lead them? I mean, how are they going to go into the next election? With what policies are they going to be pushing?
Well, the Democrats?
Yeah.
I think they're in an existential crisis, really.
Yeah.
Like,
they'll make up a policy in the moment. You know, they'll tell you anything they think you want to hear, because you're stupid. You, the Democrat voter, you're stupid, and you'll believe it. And so, you know, if they can come out and, you know, we're going to get rid of tariffs, and therefore everybody's going to be paying 90 cents a gallon for gas. If that's what it takes to make you vote for them, they'll say that. In the next breath, if they think that they can make the point that climate change, we all need wind power, you need to drive electric cars, we're going to tax gas 500% to save the planet. If that's what they think will get them votes, they'll say. Now, the two are completely contradictory, but
nobody believes that. Nobody believes that anymore, because we've had 4 years of Joe Biden and 8 years of Barack Obama, and the 4 years of Joe Biden.
And we have one other thing, and I'm not kidding about this. I say it a little bit tongue in cheek, but I'm deadly serious about this. We also have Dave Weinbaum, because what they've been able to do in the past is they've been able to sugarcoat whatever they're doing, because they had the major networks. They learned that way. They've lived that way for decades. They had the major networks to cover for their lies. And so they'd say whatever they want, and people would just accept it because it's on the news. Okay. That is no longer the case, because people like you are getting out and speaking against all the lies. And the minute you unmask a lie, it's out in the open.
Yeah.
And they can't cover it up with more and more CNN and more of ABC and the New York Times. And so they're still trying, but that's why it's important. That's why, like Bill said,
until I prove these things, or until it was proved by other people that I was telling the truth. And you have that too. You've been called a liar, and
it's a badge of honor.
Well, yeah, it's a badge of honor, but their intention is to change you or get rid of you.
And it used to work,
and it never worked on me.
Right.
Now, I would question us a lot. I would question certain policies and things like that. I was just questioning him about the Constitution. Is this unusual? What about constitutions that are made that aren't followed in the end? And he was talking about a history of that happening. You know, that there are some great constitutions out there, but eventually they get beat up, and you end into a monarchy.
And they're trying really, really hard to do exactly that. I'll quote you, paraphrase John Adams, that this every school kid ought to learn this. Every constitutional advocate, every aspiring conservative ought to learn this quote, because he said that our Constitution will only work for, and I'm paraphrasing, will only work for a moral and godly people, and it's wholly unfit to govern any other kind. It's for an honest populace that wants to do the right thing. Let's just take voting, okay? If we say we want to do the will of the people, and then we take a vote and the will of the people is to do something, we say, okay, that's it, let's go with it. There's an element of morality, of respect for your fellow human being in doing that. Okay. Now, if we take that and we remove the moral component, then it's, well, what lies can we take to get the most people to vote a certain way? And how many fake paper ballots can we get in? How much cheating can we do? How much propagandizing can we do? And before long, you don't have the will of the people. You have a self-serving, aspiring tyranny. And if people don't wise up, they're going to lose.
Hey, listen, I want to play a couple of bits, a couple of clips of you. William Federer from that was on your site. And I want to get both of those in there because I thought it was important enough for you to recite what was going on with that. So can you hit that, or is it? Go ahead, hit it, please.
Mohammed's 3 steps was immigrate, increase, eliminate. Immigrate as a religious refugee, increase the number of your followers and demand political accommodation, and then eliminate the previous culture. So I was speaking in Detroit area, and afterwards had people come up and visit around the book table, and they were telling me about a lady who had a ministry to pregnant mothers. So she shows up at a Muslim house, has a little present. Well, out of a bedroom comes another pregnant Muslim mom. Out of a bedroom comes another pregnant Muslim mom. Out of a bedroom comes another pregnant Muslim mom, all pregnant by the same man. He's practicing Sharia law in his house. And then someone else says, oh yeah, Fazil bought a bunch of houses on the street, has a wife in each one.
Where was this?
In Detroit area. The wives go down to the welfare office and say their husband's not around. He goes and visits them, and the more kids they have, the larger the checks get. And he's living like a king at state expense, and all the kids playing in the middle of the street are his children. He's practicing Sharia law on his block. They take over several more blocks, and they vote in the school board. And now they have their Sharia in the schools. And then they take over more blocks. They vote in the police department, fire department, and in Hamtramck, Detroit, they vote in the majority of the city council. They have their minarets, their calls to prayer 5 times a day, no different than Pakistan. So we see the first ones come in as immigrants, and they're nice, and they're so nice. Everybody says they're nice, nothing to fear, let more in, more come in. They gravitate together, form a community. Imam shows up and says, okay, you need to start getting a little more serious about this, more fundamental. Then the burqas start appearing. People say the neighborhood's changing. They move out. More Muslims move in. And then there's always that stickler that says, I refuse to move out. And that's when there's random violence from Muslim youth. And there's no witnesses because no Muslim family dare testify against another Muslim family on behalf of some kafir infidel that's hanging in the neighborhood. And so eventually they take over the entire neighborhood. And they do this neighborhood by neighborhood, city by city, block by block, until they take over countries. And there's 1,400 years of track record to observe this pattern. So they took over Egypt, which used to be Coptic Christian. They took over Syria, which used to be Christian. They took over all of Turkey, which used to be Christian. Took over all of North Africa, which used to be. They took Spain, held it for 700 years until the Spaniards drove them out.
Okay, Chris, I want you to comment on this. This is a pretty piece.
Where to begin? Yeah, and William Federer is absolutely brilliant. And by the way, just for the record, since you're going to pick on me sooner or later, he did tell me that my book was absolutely brilliant at one point. So here's the thing, the premise that we need to understand.
Has he read it yet?
I hope he has. He thought it was brilliant. I don't think he would say that without reading it. Okay, but I haven't, checked up on him. The key to everything he said right there, the key is if we let it. If we let this happen, right. Okay.
What do you mean if we let it happen? We are letting it happen.
Okay, yeah. Since we've let it happen, here's what we need to understand. And I, all over the place, when I'm commenting on these things, you'll see my comment where I say Islamists and leftists, they have the same tactics, they have the same end game, which is total domination. They have the same dirty tricks, the same manipulations, and there's a reason for that, is because they ultimately serve the same master. Okay, it's no more complicated than that. Now, this is what they're going to do. This is when everything that he described there, I could give you parallels for what has happened in our schools. Forget the Islamists for the moment, but what has happened in our schools, in our libraries, in the entertainment industry. I can go down the list, in Cracker Barrel, where what happens is these things, the leftists use this exact same pattern to worm their way in, and they do it. And if you go back to chapter 6 of my book, I talk about moral certitude. They do it by first telling you don't have a right to say what's right and wrong. You can't say that. And then we back off. We let them. Oh, okay, I don't have a right. So before long, there's no right and wrong. And then the next step is, well, since you're right and wrong, which are traditional Judeo-Christian principles, since those don't count, now I'm going to impose my right. And the left does exactly like the Islamists on this. Where the next thing you know, we're hearing what they say is right and wrong. And that's how you end up with trannies in the schools. Can you imagine a sexual predator in front of elementary school kids? They would have taken the guy out and hung him.
Muslims are against that as well.
Okay. That's one of the other tricks. Okay. Remember me telling you a few minutes ago when I was comparing, the tariffs versus climate change, the taxes and all that, how they'll take both sides of an argument
to get an edge.
Any argument in the moment, and they'll completely contradict themselves. Islam has it's a religious dogma, and it's called taqiyya, and it's spelled Taqqiya, taqiyya. And what it means is you are allowed, in the name of Muhammad, to tell any lie you have to advance Islam. Okay. Now, the God we serve, the one that you say, the Judeo-Christian God, the real one, he says Satan is the father of lies. They say you can tell any lie it needed to advance Islam. Okay. Leftists are no different. Again, the same principle. They will tell you anything in the moment to dominate the discourse. And then they'll contradict themselves in the next moment if that's what it takes to dominate the discourse on a different topic. Everything that he described there was a matter of our side, the traditional community, enabling this. We sit back, we let it happen. So where are they getting? He talked about this imam with all these wives, and they're all getting welfare. Who's behind that? Islam didn't invent welfare. Marx did, and the leftists are practicing it. So Islam moves in and uses it.
Yeah. All right. Bill, do you have any comments on this?
No, I mean, my thought is Friedrich Nietzsche's will to power, right? That the common value there is like just take power at all costs.
Yep.
And Nietzsche talked about that, and that's kind of the father of leftism, but that was the idea that, it's not, you're talking about even lying being acceptable. That's such a contradiction from Judeo-Christianity and from, Immanuel Kant, and from our commitment to the truth and what the truth does to people. And then what just letting lies take over does the exact opposite to people, and how there's no rules in leftism. There's no rules except for take power. Right. And that's like, that comes from Nietzsche's Beyond Good and Evil, that the only value in life was to get more and more powerful.
Yep.
And that's, that's Nietzsche's also displacement of religion and God. So those are my thoughts.
And that's a necessary move that they have to achieve before they can substitute the true God with their God, which is Marxism, which is power.
That's the common thread, that it's a disassembling of Jesus and what Christ represents, and deconstructs that in the hearts and minds of people, and then replaces it with something else, because human beings are still primed to, just sort of bow down and sort of worship, right? But they take that out of their life, and then they're going to worship the state. They're going to worship, something else, right? A false doctrine. So
whatever they're told to worship ultimately, because when you look at these people that are, quote, transitioning, they're transitioning their own children. How far is that from the people back in Moab that were sacrificing their own children to Moloch? I mean, you're looking at people destroying their loved ones that they should be caring for. Why? Because this somehow connotes virtue on their part, and progressivism and open-mindedness, and they're doing hideous things, and yet they're patting themselves on the back for it. Exactly as you said, they've supplanted real morality and truth for this what we say it's madness. Well, it's really worse than madness.
Well, they're taking the Muslim concepts are taking over many countries around the world.
Every place where they abandoned their Judeo-Christian principles. Yeah.
Ireland,
England.
Germany. I mean, it's taking over with this kind of action. And even when we were a young country in the Civil War, not the Civil War, but the Revolutionary War, people were wondering, who are the Muslims and why are they so pissed off at us?
Yeah.
And I mean,
the point is, we knew who we were at that point.
Yeah, but we didn't know who they were.
Well, and it didn't matter.
We found out it's been the same since Muhammad existed and wanted the Jews to go along with him as the God or the Son of God or whatever he was
the prophet or something.
Yeah.
It was a cheap counterfeit. Yeah, from the beginning.
And so when they said thank you, but no thank you, he got really mad, and they started writing things like, if you see a Jew behind a rock, throw the rock at him. Things like that. That's still taught in Muslim schools today.
It came into America, and I will tell you, I'll give you a paraphrase to that. That during the Obama administration, he made the statement, "You get out and fight, and if they bring a knife, we bring a gun." Okay, and so the point is, these people are out to win. Now, are they out for justice? Are they out? They care about the children until they let them be genitally mutilated, because that's more for the cause. You pick any issue that they jump on, and as I've said many times, they don't care about any issue other than, as Bill described, amassing power. That's the goal.
Their truth is in what works. If it works, it's true. It doesn't matter whether it actually is true or not. Am I wrong?
I think it does matter if it's true or not, but maybe not to those folks. It doesn't matter to them.
I don't think it matters to them at all.
That's interesting, because I would say it always matters what the truth is.
Yeah, and I think Dave's saying that for their agenda.
I'm saying for them.
Yeah, for their agenda.
If I can get elected by a lie, if I can get the other guy put out of office or put in jail with a lie, I'm going to do it. And they've done that.
Let's look at what... Oh, go ahead, Bill.
You go ahead, Chris. I'm sorry.
Let's look at what happened to President Trump in 2017.
Sure.
The stuff that started between Election Day and Inauguration Day. And General Michael Flynn, who, by the way, if you're watching posts, you need to see what he's having to say, because he's excellent on this. He's still trying to awaken America. Look, this is the treasonous, and he doesn't hesitate to say, the treasonous betrayal of Trump by moles that Obama left within the administration. And if we don't bring these people to accountability, it's like any other cancer. You leave half the tumor in place. What's it going to do at the first opportunity?
Sure. Okay. Any more comments on that?
Not on that subject. I yield the floor.
He's a lawyer too. Did I say that?
Please don't. No, the slander is not.
He's
necessary.
a lawyer. He's a
the,
proud lawyer of the United States of America,
defamatory.
Right there.
Just like Abraham Lincoln.
That's defamatory?
No, I'm just kidding. I just tried to tell people that.
Oh my God.
As long as he's an honest lawyer.
What? Wait a minute. That's a whole different subject.
I said, if there's 10 honest lawyers in America, will you not destroy the country?
Okay. So, what name can you anticipate when you win an argument with a liberal? You had that on your site. I thought. Racist,
Nazi, fascist, homophobe. Yeah, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
The point is that they will revert to that instantly,
which is great because you've won. You've won when they say that.
In
when
the
they
past,
say you're Hitler, and I said, well, that means I'm right, because you can't think of any way to combat my actual argument in front of me. You have to call me a name. Okay.
Yeah. In the past, what they would do is they would do that, and then our side would instantly, and too many, by the way, still do this, call you a name, and the minute they do that, it's, I have to prove to you, the lefty,
them nothing.
That I have to prove to you that I'm not that bad. And this is when you have people like John McCain. Well, we have to reach across the aisle. You remember George Bush Jr. when he got in office, his big mantra was the new tone. And he was going to reach across the aisle, and we're all going to unify. Well, when you have people whose agenda, as we described a minute ago, is the acquisition of power, the only way to unify with them is to surrender to them. And our side, for the longest time, didn't get that. But at this point, they're kind of coming unhinged because there are people like Trump out there that don't play that game, and it all goes back. Obviously, it all goes back. Lies, like you said, can go back to 1,400 years ago and more. I take it back to Saul Alinsky, because Saul Alinsky in his Rules for Radicals codified, here's how we lie, here's how we manipulate, here's how we get the conservatives to be afraid of admitting they're conservatives, and to start trying to pander or dodge being targeted by us. And the minute they do that, we dominate.
For a minute or so. All right, so we have another guest here.
Oh man, I didn't even get to talk about Gavin Newsom or Cracker Barrel.
Booking, okay. So Trump says no mail ballots. Why? What could go wrong?
Yep. Who's going to get mad about that?
I don't know.
The cheaters.
Well,
you can see it coming.
Yeah. Paper ballots only. Oh my God! How can we do that?
We've seen these countries with their
identification of you as a citizen.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, that's right. Remember, racist.
Huh? Yeah, it's racist. It's terrible.
Which really, if you think about that accusation is actually a racist
dog in here. He brought a dog in here. It's a cute dog too. I'm sorry. All right, so honey, you gonna move?
Here, I'll get up. I gotta go.
You sure?
Yeah.
I figured you would.
I gotta go.
So, okay, I'm over.
God bless you, Bill. Keep up the good work.
Overbooked.
Great
what
to
can
see
I
you,
tell
Chris.
you?
Thank you.
And I love. You know what? I love it. I love it that you came, and thank you, Bill. Appreciate you. Okay.
Well, he gets respect.
This is my next guest coming up. He's called a bullet. He's a bullet. He's a bullet. Okay, come on over, and you can hang out, okay, if you like. Chris?
Okay, I'll hang out for a bit.
All right, that's fine. By the way, where can people find you and buy your book?
Okay, my book is still available at Amazon. You just do a search on my name, Christopher Adamo, or Rules for Defeating Radicals. You can still find it there. And it still needs to be read because they're still playing the same game, and too often they win it. But we're unmasking them.
That's a great book. He's a great man. Just ask him. The ocean is friendly. It always waves back, and it's current.
It gives me a real sinking feeling.
What? I got a phone?
No, I think he left his phone. No, it's Dave's.
That's mine. Yeah. Okay.
Phone?
Thanks.
Okay.
Thanks for worrying about that.
Yeah.
Because I can lose stuff easily. I can leave my putter somewhere and not know where it is, and he always corrects me. Anyways, let me introduce this gentleman here. No, he's not a freedom activist, dope. I had to flip through the papers to get this thing right.
You're trying to find out who I am? Is that what?
Well, no, just what I wrote about you, which could be true or not true. Probably cases that I said nice things about you. It probably wasn't so. Now, there you are. Federal forest manager. He's author of books about trout fishing around the world, dogs and cat books for children published, and an amazing history of America from 1850 to 1950, roughly, which is called
The Last Buffalo in Kansas.
All right. And here's another fellow author. This is Chris Adamo. I don't know if you know each other.
I think I've seen you on the podcast, Chris.
Oh, thank you. It's been on here a few times. I'm going to be gone for the next couple of weeks, so Dave, I'll try and get back to you when we're back in town. But
wait a minute,
I've seen that book.
I didn't give you permission. Did I give you permission to go somewhere?
I'm going to have to run out of here pretty quick.
What?
We have a crisis situation at home here, but I have seen that book, The Last Buffalo in Kansas. Looks really good, and yeah.
All right. Well, what's your crisis? You talk about?
Oh, yeah. Just things we got to take care of around here. We got stuff going on, but
all right.
yeah.
All right. Well, I'll miss you.
Well, I just stay in touch. I'll be
Okay,
on the road, but you guys keep up the great work, and
all right.
we'll see you. Bye-bye.
All right. Thank you so much. Say hello to your wife for us. Okay. Thank you. All right. So did I say? Yeah, I said that. Okay. So the most important thing to me about Bob is he's my golf coach, and he's done a lot for my golf game. And it's incredible how much better and better that I understand concepts in golf than I did before. And I want to thank you for that here. Speaking of which, how's our other buddy, Jack, doing?
Jack Boone. Well, of course, Jack Boone is 88 now.
Yeah.
And he went in for surgery Monday.
I know.
He has had an infection in his foot, actually 2 toes, and they did amputate another portion of his second toe. That being said, he called me yesterday and said, "Let's go have breakfast."
I thought you said I was going to say, "Let's go play golf."
I was amazed.
Yeah,
I thought he was going to be in the hospital. He called me and said, let's go have breakfast. So we did.
So he can get around okay? Has he got a walker or what?
He does have a walker, but he's really, his mobility's definitely gotten better.
He's a tough guy.
He's really tough.
Yeah.
I mean, absolutely tough.
Yeah. Can you imagine that? The guy was beating me when he was like 88.
He's 88 years old and he's shooting 75, 76 on the golf course. He's an amazing
Pissing me right off.
Yeah.
Pissing me right off, but that's okay. I'm
he
learning.
beats you like a drum. You know that, right?
Yeah, I know that. Thanks for saying that, schmuck. Anyways, who said that? You're not supposed to say that word here. Huh.
Let me just tell you a trip I took.
Okay, yeah. Let's talk. Can you tell us about a trip that you took?
I think I will. A couple of weeks ago, I was invited to several book signings out in Kansas, and so I took a book tour through Kansas a couple of weeks ago, and I went to several cities and signed lots of books. But I went to one special place, and it's the place where it's the epicenter of this story, the Last Buffalo in Kansas, which happens to be a little bitty town, really small, 234 people, Kerwin, Kansas.
And they're all related to you.
I didn't know that at the time. But as it turns out, we had an event at their library.
Yeah.
And
do they look like you too?
Most of them.
Oh man, that's rough right there.
Well, my family homesteaded there in 1879.
Yeah.
My great-grandfather, my grandfather, my father, all grew up there.
Tell them about your great-grandfather and the names.
My great-grandfather was born in England. His name was George Washington Willis. And with that name, he had to migrate to the United States, which he did.
Is that true?
Yeah.
I mean, is that
no? That wasn't the reason. He migrated to the United States in.
But wasn't that a problem for him to be named that?
Well, nobody ever called him George Washington Willis.
I don't think the English.
They just called him George.
I think till today, even today, that the British are a little angst against us.
Oh, well, sure they are.
Yeah. Okay, and it comes from the Revolution, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does, and when my great grandfather came to the United States, he came for a better life.
Right.
I mean, he was a pauper, and
he came here with his brothers.
He came here.
He was born in 1833.
1836.
36.
Yes.
All right.
He was
1836.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So when he was about what?
He was 17 years old when he came.
17 years old with his brothers.
With his two brothers.
Two brothers. And they split. They never saw each other
again. They landed
again.
in New York, spent a couple of days together, and left in separate directions and never saw each other again.
Wow. Of course, you couldn't email somebody then either. So
once you were out of shouting distance, communication was over.
Yeah. All right. And he went his way to.
Well, he worked his way west because George's goal was to own property.
Yeah.
And so his whole goal in coming to the United States was to become a large farmer, have a large farmland and a farm operation. And after he'd been here for 5 years, he'd made his way to Iowa, and the Civil War started. Well, he didn't have any money, and he'd met a wonderful girl. Her name was Annie Cook, who he wanted to marry, but he didn't have enough money to get married and buy a farm or anything. Civil War, if you were a volunteer in the Iowa Cavalry, you got $50. You volunteered, got $50.
One payment of $50.
Yeah,
Okay.
You got $50,
which is like maybe $5,000 worth today.
Oh, it probably more than that.
Yeah,
but it was a lot of money in those days. $50 in those days was enough money to buy 40 acres of public domain land.
Well, there was a deal from the Army too. If right?
Yeah. What happened? He served 3 years in the Army, and then you had a 3-year term in the Civil War. Then he re-upped, because if you re-upped, you got a $200 bonus.
Aha, big time now.
And you also got 30 days leave.
Okay.
Which he took to go back to Iowa and marry his sweetheart.
Okay.
And so with their he made $13 a month as a soldier in the Civil War.
All right.
I mean, hey, that's pretty good pay back in those days.
Okay. Yeah.
So
you got free food and stuff, right?
Well, yeah, I wouldn't put a lot into that, because you
killed your own food, right?
Well, if you could find it.
Yeah.
Most of the time it was hard biscuits, and it was not a glamorous life in any stretch.
I'm sure
it was really tough, but he did survive. And
now, what did he do in the Army? Basically, what was his job?
He started out as a bugler, because he knew how to play the bugle. Being a bugler was not a glamorous job, because they always shot the buglers first.
Yeah. Why'd they do that?
Because they're the ones that were bugling the orders to all the troops.
Yeah. Right.
So they shot the buglers first. He got the bugle shot out of his hand once. He survived, which I'm glad he did.
Well, of course.
Yeah.
I'm glad he did too.
But after his first tour, the farrier, the blacksmith for the company he was in, did not re-up, and so there was an opening. He learned the blacksmithing trade as he worked his way west.
Okay.
And so the company commander, who knew he had that experience, made him the company blacksmith, and he served the rest of his tour taking care of all the horses for the cavalry, which is a big job.
And didn't he make a little more money then?
Oh yeah, he got another buck.
So he got $14 a month.
Yeah. And after the war was over, he went back to Iowa, and when he got to Iowa, they still didn't have enough money. Land was expensive in Iowa, because it had been settled for some time, and he was only able to buy a very small farm. And over the next decade, they had 7 children, and when his 7th child was born, they decided they had to do something else.
Okay.
And what they did was they decided to homestead out west.
Well, what were you doing in Iowa? That wasn't homesteading.
He was farming, but he had a small 10-acre farm.
Yeah.
Wasn't enough to he
could
generate
produce
enough food for his family, but he couldn't support a family, and so he had taken up.
Did you have a house there that you built?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
What kind of a house was that?
It was just a frame home. Just a small frame home. But by the time their 7th child was born, it was too small.
Yeah. All right.
And so he took all of his 7 children and his wife Annie, and they decided that they were going to become pioneers and homestead the West. And as they looked at the maps of land still available for homesteading, Kansas and Nebraska were the 2 closest choices. And they chose Western Kansas.
Why is this? Was it a little warmer there in Kansas?
Well, because there was a lot more territory available at that point. And he was searching for good land.
So where did the money come to buy the land, and how much land did they get?
He had saved money, but in the Homestead Act, you didn't have to have any money to homestead.
Yeah,
you could claim 160 acres under the Homestead Act. If you could improve it over a 5-year period. If you could improve it over a 5-year period, then you had free title, clear title.
Could you get any more than that, or do you have to buy it?
2 things. He was a Civil War veteran.
Yeah.
The Act said, as a Civil War veteran, you could perfect your homestead in a year. if you made improvements. So he could have free title on 160 acres.
Okay.
The law also said you could purchase an adjacent 160 acres for $2.25 an acre.
Okay.
Which he did.
Yeah.
So he had 360 acres under the original.
Okay.
Farm. And that happened in.
That's a lot of land.
It is a lot of land.
Yeah.
But to farm in those days, particularly in the West, you had to have a lot of land because mostly you're raising corn and wheat, and corn was totally water dependent. If you had a bad water year, which happened all the time in Kansas, the corn didn't produce. So one of the things that all the farmers out in Kansas were doing in the late 1800s was searching for drought-resistant corn, which they found. Russian red, imported.
Russian red,
imported from Russia,
okay,
was the drought-resistant strain that everybody started using out there.
And did it work?
It did work.
All right. But tell me, was it actually red?
It had a little bit of a cast to it, but red.
How did it taste?
Red was more a statement on where it came from.
How did it taste?
It tasted like wheat.
It tasted... What? Wait a minute. So you already had the wheat, and
it was milled into flour.
Milled into flour.
Yes.
Okay.
And the flour was used for all the baking at that point in time.
All right. All right.
The one
did you have any animals? Did you actually see a lot of buffaloes out there?
No. What I saw were windmills and oil wells.
Okay.
But there's a big change out in Kansas that really did surprise me when
What's
I was
that?
out there. I didn't see a lot of wheat, which was the main crop back in the day.
Yeah.
What I saw were all kinds of different crops: milo, sorghum, a lot of corn. Everything is now irrigated farming out there now instead of dry land farming as it once was. And it's just a total change in the crop structure, which I thought was really interesting because that's not what I expected to see. But in 100 years, things have really changed in the agricultural field. And the agricultural field right now is huge machines harvesting. A lot less labor intensive than it once was.
John Deere has taken over.
John Deere and Kubota and all the other big operations.
Yeah. So, but you were doing plowing and with donkeys and horses and things like that.
This was the horse era. Okay?
Horse era, right?
And
how many horses? How many horses did you have to do with 360?
Well, my grandfather's operation, he had. What happened as the land developed out in the Kansas prairies is that the Willis operation became the largest horse farming operation in that part of the state.
Yeah.
They ended up farming several thousand acres with horses. And
did you ever hear of the Kentucky Derby? Was that
what is that?
When did
I've
they
been
come?
raising horses for 45 years.
I know.
Yes,
I know. I'm
heard
asking you.
Kentucky
Did you ever get a horse in the Kentucky Derby?
No, the horses I raised.
I mean, you couldn't run a buffalo in a race, but you can run horses in a race.
Okay. When you farm, you use quarter horses and standard breds. I had quarter horses. I also had Tennessee walking horses. I did go to the national celebration with Tennessee walking horses, which is the world championships. And
is this just a sort of like how they look kind of a competition, or is it?
It's actually,
but you're not racing any.
Tennessee walking horses are a performance horse, and they're measured on how they perform at various gaits.
Okay,
there's a running walk, and as well as a canter. And they are evaluated on how they perform.
So did you win anything with these horses?
Oh, yes. We had the Midwest champion for 5 years in a row.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Wow. How old were you then?
I was in my 40s, but my girls were in their teens, and they thought it was wonderful, and I did it for them. The whole horse operation was for them.
So that was where was this?
In the 90s.
And you were in Kansas still?
No. I was here in Missouri.
Missouri, okay.
Yeah, I had some land here in Missouri where we raise horses.
All right.
And so we did that. I've had horses here in Missouri for 45 years.
How about that?
Yeah.
You still got how many left?
I've got 3. I retired 10 that were just great horses, and,
Yeah.
and I've just left them retired, and you can still ride a couple of them, but
Well, what do they do?
they eat a lot of grass and cost a lot of money.
Yeah. Okay.
Pretty much.
Well, my wife here is a farmer. You know, she's kind of a farmer. And look at that. Is that cute? What is it? Oh, we wanted another. Are you giving that to us?
I can't, because that's
Yeah, look
dogs.
at- all right.
That's dog. Yeah.
There's dog's dog.
Yeah.
Look at, so this is the book. Show that in the camera, okay?
Both.
Ow! He bit me. Oh no! Ow! Look at, oh, but he's so cute. Damn.
Well,
this is great.
yeah, I've got 4 children's books.
Put 'em up.
I've got 4 children's books coming out. This is the
Yeah.
first one, and all of them kind of lend themselves
Oh.
to toy animals like this, and so we're beginning to develop maybe
You're not-
a group of animals to go along.
You're not going to
with the
believe
book.
this, but I got somebody calling me from Hawaii right now. So, huh? She's there.
That would be your next guest.
Yeah, but you can hang out
Well,
if you want to.
have
Now,
I
this-
already used my time? No, I've got some time left.
You got some time left.
I can stay for another
All right.
few minutes.
I want you to listen to this, and I don't want a lot of input right now because I've never met this lady, and I don't want her to be scared or anything like that. But she doesn't look like the kind that's going to get scared. But let me introduce you to her. She's a freedom activist, fitness and wellness expert, author of four-time award-winning books, and she is one of the books is End Dieting Hell.
This one.
She lives in Hawaii. Her name is Michelle Melendez. Aloha. Did I say? I'm here with a gentleman by the name of Bob Willis, who used to fish in where in Hawaii?
I pretty well fished all the islands, but I mainly fished the reefs. I didn't do deep sea fishing.
All right. Anyways, I'm not sure that's a book too, though, isn't it? There's another book, The Great Maui Land Grab.
Yeah.
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 so-
That book won 3rd place in the American Book Fest under true crime, because that's exactly what it was. I live on the Big Island of Hawaii in Aloha. Dave, thank you so much for having me on.
Aloha back. Okay. So what is the background around the Great Maui Land Grab? I mean, and how does this connect to the California fires?
Exactly. The book that I wrote is actually in its 4th edition because I added 21 LA fire oddities that people need to know about. They did it in LA, LA and Maui. Water turned off, no warning evacuation notices, questionable leadership, extreme questionable leadership. The pictures in my book are going to shock people, especially the pictures of there's bodies that there's no possible way that the bodies were in a regular fire because they weren't burned. They were charred. They're recognizable. This one body, you can see the cornrows, you can see the braids in the person's hair, and their whole entire body is just charred, but completely recognizable. The fingers, the arms, everything. And in a regular fire, a body burns from the outside in, and you just have a skeleton or ashes left. There's even a picture of a dog with its ears, its paw pads, its nose, its fur. You can see the texture of its fur, but it's completely charred. And then there's a picture of a cat, which is still standing, Dave. The cat is a first responder took this picture, and the first responder had to sign a non-disclosure. What emergency do first responders go into where they have to sign a non-disclosure? The media wasn't allowed in for 30 days. No fly zone. You couldn't fly drones, nothing over Lahaina. They spent $2.3 million on a 5-mile long dust screen 12 feet high, and they put it around the entire perimeter of Lahaina. You know, so there's so
Well,
many.
when did they do that? Was that during the fire?
That was
After the fire?
10 days after the fire. It was approved 10 days after the fire, $2.3 million dust screen, and put up so quickly. And let me tell you something, this is Hawaii. Nothing happens quickly here. This dust screen went up so fast. They had these you couldn't get near the burn zone. If you tried to go and take a picture or stop, officers were on you, and they would say, you know, you have to leave, or they would threaten you with being arrested. So
Who are these officers you're talking about? Local cops or army type cops or what?
That's a really good question, because they were in these SUVs that were not normal for the officers there. So I'm not sure if there were some of them probably were local, I'm sure, but I don't think all of them, because they were in very, very, very different cars for a police officer here on the islands.
Well, you go on and talk about energy weapons
Mhm.
And things like this that people and animals were burned from the inside out. How does that happen? I have never heard of that before.
So I was when this happened, I started interviewing experts, and I interviewed a 33-year firefighter, retired fire captain, a 48-year arborist. So what happened with the arborist is that these are trees. The trees didn't burn. Some of them burned from the inside out. And that's not a tree. The only way a tree is going to burn from the inside out is if it's hit by lightning. That's it. So I asked the arborist, but these trees, and not only that, Dave, but when that dust screen went up, the trees on the burn zone side still had their leaves. They were all dried leaves.
Leaves didn't burn, but the inside of the tree did.
You can see the picture, the whole tree going over, and you see these dried leaves. And I asked the arborist, I said, how is this possible? He said, Michelle, the chemistry of the fire doesn't recognize organic material. This is why bodies didn't burn the way that they're supposed to burn. Now, some did in the houses because it was so hot. But the trees didn't burn. The bodies outside didn't burn. A dog in the middle of the street didn't burn. So he said the chemistry. He said, Michelle, this is a microwave chemical fire, chemistry fire. And so the microwaves don't recognize organic material. It's like you put a chicken breast in a microwave oven, it's going to heat the water inside the chicken, and it's going to heat up. It doesn't burn the chicken, though. The chicken doesn't catch on fire.
Okay, so you're making this sound like it's intentional.
I believe so, absolutely, 100%.
And so what evidence do you have that this was intentional?
All of the pictures that you have is just not normal. It's not normal. I don't know. Well, I do know that Maui, or Lahaina, where the fire was, it's a very important part of the islands. It used to be the capital when the King Kamehameha ruled on all the islands. Lahaina was the capital of the islands. It's a very special location. Plus, they couldn't build. They could not. Maui's set to be the first smart island. Smart city, smart island. In 2015, Japanese and Hawaiian stakeholders decided on this with no legislation, no people, no testimony. So Maui is set to be the first smart island. Lahaina could not be rebuilt because it was historically preserved, and so there was a law you could not rebuild there. So, but now you can. Here's the other thing, Dave. The governor suspended 22 laws 1 month before the fire. And the first law that he suspended, and this is he said it was an emergency because of homelessness.
Yeah.
And but the first law he suspended was the historic preservation law. So this man is something else. Not only that, but he's now has 9 emergency proclamations in the state of Hawaii. 9 emergency proclamations based on mostly administrative issues, and he has suspended 32 laws. So this man,
this is in all the islands that comprise Hawaii.
Yeah.
Right.
Correct.
Okay. So I don't. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Was there how did the fire start? What was there, lightning, or was there something that was physical that could have happened? that to start this fire.
So this is really interesting because the Maui fire report says, well, there was one that was supposedly started by arson, but there's another one that was supposedly started with the electric company. However, this is so interesting. The Maui fire people who investigators, they on the video, on their interview, when they were giving this report, they spent 10 minutes congratulating themselves of how great they are. Then in the report, all of their names are redacted. You don't know who did the report.
Okay,
So
what were they celebrating?
What great investigators they are. What great investigators they are. They literally spent 10 minutes talking about what a great job they did, and then not one of their names is on the report. It's like it's crossed off. This also happened with the Maui Emergency Center. The Maui Emergency Center sign-in sheet, when you're supposed to go in, you're supposed to sign in, you're supposed to sign out. They redacted most of the names. You don't know who was there and who left and who signed in and whatnot. And this one person who used to work for the Maui Emergency Center said in 40 years, he's never seen a sign-in sheet that looked like that with blacked out names. It's like,
okay, so this is an anomaly. This has never happened before in Hawaii, is what you're saying. Is that correct?
That's correct. That is correct. Yeah. Yes. The thing is, too, is that Lahaina sits underneath a volcano, underneath a mountain. So they said the winds were so strong. The winds were so strong and they were going everywhere. That's very, very rare for Lahaina because Lahaina sits under a mountain and the winds were coming east. They were coming toward the mountain. So the mountain should have protected Lahaina, but it didn't protect it. And then Mark Finan of KCRA Channel 3 News, he was the chief meteorologist. He went on live television during the fire and he said, because there was a hurricane, Hurricane Dora, which was 600 miles to the west of Maui. And he said he really doubts that Dora had anything to do with the wind because it was going away from the islands. The wind was literally going with the hurricane. So it's very questionable what's going on over there.
So the governor, I saw a picture of the governor testifying at the UN.
That's correct. That's what got me started.
Because of a fire in Lahaina, right?
He went to the United Nations. This is what got me started in it because I was so infuriated about what he said. First, why does a governor go to the United Nations at all? There's no reason for him to go to speak the world.
I don't know. Is there a history of a governor of a state going to the?
I don't think so. There could be, but I don't think so.
Okay.
But the one thing he said was climate change. Climate change is all because. And here's the thing, if you guys are watching this and you really want to understand what the experts think of climate change, you can go to World Climate Declaration. World Climate Declaration. Click on the PDF. There's now 2,000 credentialed scientists. We're talking meteorologists, geologists, physicists that have all signed this World Climate Declaration saying there's no climate emergency. Is there climate change? Every second of the day.
Yeah.
These, you can see their name, you can see what their profession is, and you can see what country there are. The last time I checked, there was 455 credentialed scientists from the United States that all say there's no climate emergency. The reason why they want us to believe in climate change is to bring in all of these rules and basically bring in all these smart cities, renewable energy, all of it. And that's what's going on.
Now, interestingly enough, the gentleman, and I use that word loosely, that's here is a forestry expert and worked for the federal government. And just by coincidence, I got him here too. He's also a good friend of mine, Bob Willis. Bob, what do you think of this so far?
Well, one of the tasks I had when I was a manager for the Forest Service was managing the fire program.
Yeah,
I did that for a decade, and
so you know what you're talking about.
And what the Forest Service does is extinguish large forest fires. They're very good at it.
Yeah,
and what you find when you start dealing with large fires is that fires create their own weather. when a fire gets big enough, it creates updrafts and its own weather associated with the area around the fire. So what you see is a lot of wind coming in from other places into the fire zone and going up into the large fire that's been created. The other thing I would say is that most people that die in fires don't get burned to death. They die of asphyxiation. What happens is when you're in the fire zone,
you're breathing the fire.
All the air is consumed in the fire, so there's no air to breathe.
Can I show you some pictures?
Go ahead.
If you're in a fire in the fire zone, a lot of people die from asphyxiation.
All right, she's going to show you some pictures. You can see, right? Yeah.
Let's see here. Okay, tell me when it's up or okay.
Yeah. It's up. Yeah.
All right.
Oops, got North Carolina up there. Maui fire 2023.
The one thing I would say about Maui is
hold on. Let her explain the picture first.
Let me get the right one. Hold on a second. I'm going to read that because there's
right.
a different one that I wanted to show you guys. Let's see here. Remove from studio. Okay.
Well, go ahead and talk then, Bob.
Well, the one thing I've been to Lehigh several times, and it was a beautiful community.
Yeah.
I love the area.
Yeah.
I used to go snorkeling out there. There was a place called Snorkel Bob's. It was terrific.
Uh-huh.
And it is an old time community that was built out of wood.
Yeah.
So once you got a fire started in the area, it was very hard to extinguish because everything in the town was wood. And once it got large enough, you couldn't fight it. It had to burn itself out, and that's what happened.
Okay, does that mean anything to you?
That's not what happened. So for some reason, I'm not able to get the right one here.
Don't worry about that. So
your computer. Okay. Let's see here. Upload.
Why don't you counter what he said if you can?
Oh yeah, the bodies weren't asphyxiated because they were charred. The whole body is charred, is black. The whole entire body's black. You can see the braids in the hair. You can see the fingers. You can see the whole arm. I'll send you a book. You send me your address. I'll send you a book. The other thing is the one picture that I wanted to show you was Tubbs, Paradise, LA, and Maui. And all of the houses are white ash. All of the houses are disintegrated into white ash. There's no fridge, there's no stove, there's no toilet. But the entire forest around Tubbs, Paradise, palm trees in Maui, LA had the regular trees in the neighborhood. All of the trees are still there. They're the pine trees, the palm fronds, but yet the house in there's two pictures that I wanted to show you where you see the rows and rows of houses disintegrated into white ash. There's nothing left, but the entire forest around is completely there. There's no fire path that shows how the fire got to the houses. There's nothing that shows where that is. So it wasn't asphyxiation. I will even show you in my book. There's a body that is half charred. It's literally on the right side of the body is just has a line almost directly down the middle. It's not directly, but the entire arm, the right arm is floating off the ground. The right arm is charred, black charred, and it's floating off the ground. And you see the fingers. It looks like this. It's a wrist that looks like this, and it's off the ground by about 3 inches. And the whole entire right side of the body is black. The left side of the body is normal. There's nothing wrong with the left side of the body. So these were not asphyxiations. These were charred bodies. There's a woman who said that her child was found in their house holding his dog, and the body was completely recognizable. It was black charred, but it was recognizable. And she said that she believes God left him that way so she would recognize him. That's not how bodies burn. I interviewed again a 33-year firefighter / retired fire captain, and I asked him about this, and I said, is this normal? He goes, Michelle, nothing about this fire is normal. The arborist, he went to over 100 fire locations, sites, and he said, Michelle, there's only a handful of these that are normal. The Tubbs fire picture that I wanted to show you guys.
Yeah.
Again, same thing. This is a drone picture. This is up in the air, and all the houses are white ash, but all the trees around the entire neighborhood are still standing up.
Does that sound a little weird to you, Bob?
Well, I think anytime you run into white ash, it means the intensity of the fire was hottest there. It was greater in the area with the white ash.
Okay.
The areas that don't have that kind
and none of the trees being affected?
Well, the trees are probably on the periphery zone, so they're not in quite as hot a burn.
Are they
zone.
in a periphery zone?
They were right next to it. The one tree, some of the trees that were right next to them, because as far as I know, is what I understand with fire is that if a tree is supposed to be, there's not supposed to be branches, there's not supposed to be leaves, it'll be a black stick. If anything's left, it'll be a black stick. These trees are intact with dried leaves. The leaves are still on them. The palm fronds, if you've ever put a palm frond in a fire, it like lights up like a firecracker. But these palm fronds are above. There's an entire parking lot.
Yeah.
Where all of the cars are totally destroyed. The glass is melted out. The engine blocks are melted out. But the trees that were standing in the parking lot are still there with their leaves above the cars, dried leaves. And let me tell you guys, there was in 2016, there was a Direct Energy Weapons Systems Acquisition Act passed through Congress, where Congress took over the Direct Energy Weapons program from the Defense Department, because the Defense Department was worried that even though they spent $6 billion since the 1960s, that they could not bring that Direct Energy Weapons program to fruition. Congress took over the Direct Energy Weapons Systems program.
When did they do this?
2016. That was 2016.
2016. Okay.
Look Direct Energy Weapons Systems Act of 2016. It will come up.
Where was the water? Did you guys have water to put out the fire?
Like LA had the fire
right.
with the no water. We had our water in Maui. I don't live on Maui. I live on the Big Island. But in Maui, the water was being diverted to one farmer. And they literally told the fire department that they had to get the farmer's permission to bring the water back to Lahaina, because they literally diverted the water. So zero water, zero warning. We have the best.
The whole ocean there. I see it behind you.
Exactly.
What about that?
Yes, and we have the best warning system in the world. In fact, during the tsunami warning, I was getting alerts on my phone, get to higher ground, get to higher ground. Nobody's cell phone service was turned off in the morning of the fire. The fire happened in the afternoon, and cell phone service was turned off, and cell phone service was turned off for an entire month in the Lahaina burn zone. You could not go into the Lahaina burn zone. No media, no homeowners couldn't go back for 90 days. Media couldn't go in for 30 days. That's a violation of freedom of the press. So
what other motives? What are the motives that if you're saying this is a world kind of action, what other motives could there be?
The renewable energy companies and electric companies are the ones that will profit. In my opinion, or my research, actually, LA smart city, North Carolina smart city, and there's also weather warfare that's happening. And if people don't believe that, there's the Weather Modification Act passed through Congress was in October of 1976. Weather Modification Act. We do have ability to control the weather. There's thousands of patents to control for weather.
The floods in Texas recently.
Yes, well, check this one out. Bill Gates was actually called the Hurricane Tamer by ABC in 2009 because he and along with 12 other inventors created a hurricane and tornado control device. How does a Hurricane Helene? How does a Category 4 hurricane go inland all the way to North Carolina and stop over and sit on top of a mountain? That's like impossible. We do have satellite images of this. There's frequencies that we believe is moving the hurricane, and because that doesn't happen, Hurricane 4 does not go inland to North Carolina and just sit on top of a mountain. So there is weather warfare happening. And again, that act, you guys, is October 16th, I believe it's 16th, 1976, Weather Modification Act passed through Congress. So there's weather warfare that's happening that nobody's talking about. Everybody's climate change. Climate change happens every single day, but no one's talking about the weather modifications that happen all the time. And they have ability to increase tornadoes, to move tornadoes and hurricanes. They have that ability. So there's
Do you not think they have that ability, Bob?
I don't think they have that ability. I think that's one of the reasons that.
Well, why?
Well,
why don't they?
because
You know they have planes that spread stuff around the clouds. We know that, right?
Yeah, but you're talking local events, and
I don't know if I am.
meteorology and weather is not.
Well, this is a local event.
They are not local events.
What do you mean?
They're worldwide.
Lahana.
They're worldwide. That is the outcome of a local event. Okay.
Yeah.
What happened in Lahana may or may not be weather related. It's hard to say at this point in time. Certainly,
we like to argue, by the way.
Certainly, it's fire related, and there was a major conflagration there, and that fire created fire weather, and lots of strange things happened. But it's not unusual in a fire zone to get hot spots and cold spots. In a large fire, you will find areas that haven't been burned. I mean, the trees are standing and they're not burned because the fire has its own path and follows the fuel load, and that creates hot spots.
So you're saying that this is all normal. She's saying that this is something that's totally different than what you're saying.
I think what I'm saying is that
what's going to happen to this property? I would like to know what's going to happen to this property. Is it going to be rebuilt for the people that were there? Or is it going to be sold off to the hotels and the electric companies and things like that?
Boy, that's a good
question.
After a year, one house has been built. One
house has been built after a year.
Now I think
that's normal to you?
Well, I've been there many times.
I know.
And that is prime time property. I mean, it is
exactly what I'm saying.
It is a beautiful area.
Exactly what I'm saying. And that's a motive there.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
They've been trying to buy they were trying to buy out many of the locals there for years since
before this happened.
Yes, that's true.
Before this happened.
So everybody knows that this place, which is probably one of the best places you can buy land anywhere in the world, is special. This is a special part of Hawaii, a special part of America, and anybody that could get this property for a reasonable price or even get it at all probably is looking to make a lot of money.
Yes.
Either hotels or whatever.
The businesses that burned, no business has been allowed to rebuild yet. No homes on the coast have been allowed to rebuild. And I do have a question for you. So there's a patent, a U.S. patent for a laser generated laser beam that has that uses a titanium sapphire, and sapphire is blue, and there's a patent for this. And so let me just ask you this: there were things that were in the fire blue that didn't burn, and we believe that, and through science, scientists that I've researched, they said that if you have a blue sapphire crystal with a laser, that the things that are blue won't burn because they're the exact same wavelength and frequency of that crystal. There was a guy who went in the day after the fire, and he found 9 blue t-shirts in the white ash, literally picked them up, had to shake off the white ash, no holes, no singe marks, nothing. He found a blue paper ticket that was for a submarine ride that he literally pulled out of the white ash, and the white ash is dropping off of this blue paper ticket completely intact. No holes, no singe marks. There were 7 blue umbrellas that were right next to a building that was gone. Blue umbrellas, no singe marks, no holes, nothing at all. So,
does that sound a little peculiar to you, sir?
It's hard to predict fire behavior. It's hard to predict burn information. I've seen fires where things totally are untouched, and you can't explain
Okay.
it.
Does this have any relationship to L.A.?
Yeah, the same thing happened in LA. I mean,
Something happened in L.A. Okay,
the-
so how's that for setting a couple of doubts in your fluid brain?
I know enough about fire weather to know that
Okay.
you can't predict it, and you can't predict.
But it's
what the
same things
outcomes.
happening in L.A. at approximately the same time with approximately the same kind of situation where the property hasn't been rebuilt and they're probably going to sell it off or do something with it.
Those are political decisions, and
I know, but this is not a safe coincidence to say, oh yeah, that's just an accident. I don't think so. Yes, go ahead.
Just kind of looking here, I was curious then that what exact areas of LA were affected during their fire, and it really hit a couple of areas, including Pasadena, California, very hard, which is very high priced real estate. They're saying that the fires caused not only widespread destruction, but some of the most combined losses estimated in U.S. history due to fire. And
somehow they didn't have any water in L.A. What another coincidence!
Yeah, there were multiple reports
they're by
of
the
water
ocean.
being shut off.
They're in the ocean, for God's sakes, and they didn't have any water either place. How's this? This too many coincidences for a man like you who is brilliant and has experience. It's too many things happening at once. I know you have more experience than I do.
Well, I think one of the fallacies that people have is that you can put these large fires out with water. You can't. The only way you can control these large fires.
Maybe you can't, but they didn't have any water.
Well, that was a political decision in California where they did not store sufficient water in the reservoirs based on environmental circumstances. They released water for snail darters and a variety of other things. So they didn't have enough reserve water in California to put out the fires.
Okay.
That's the biggest problem they faced. But the real issue with large fires is you can't put it out with water. You can subdue it, but you end up putting it out by either controlling it to where it burns itself out, or you backfire against it, where you create other fires that it will burn into the fire and put the perimeter out. That's the way you control large wildfires. Now, in the situation of Lehigh, that fire could have been impacted with availability of water. The fires in California, probably not.
Okay.
Dave, there's you know what? You can have your person go to greatmauilandgrabbook.com because I have pictures on that site. That's my book. Great Maui Land Grab book.
Why don't you trade books? He's got books too.
Yes, so if your person goes to that website and then scrolls down, you'll see the dog that's completely charred in the middle of the road. And animals will hide themselves in a earthquake or a hurricane or whatever. They're going to go under something. This dog was in the middle of the road.
Just leave it.
Completely charred, and you're going to see some of the trees. Also there. So
yeah, I think we need further investigation. I think you need to fly out to Hawaii. Of course, I'm not paying for it. You know
it's
that.
Don't be part of the Dave Weinbaum Show if I go to Hawaii, bud.
Kathy Sanford Dillon, a great fan of the show. Is it normal to have 13 tornadoes going at the same time across 3 states? If you don't believe that weather modification going on, pull your head out of the sand. I think that was for you. All right, go ahead and keep going. This is great. I love this. So wait a minute. I almost want to go to this, but are we done talking about the fires here? Because I think there's a confliction between you and Bob Willis. His name is Bob Willis, by the way.
I'd love to send him my book. I would be so happy to send
your
him.
address.
You're gonna be shocked.
You're gonna get my address.
You chicken.
Internet.
Yes. Yeah,
Send it to me. You got my address, right?
Yeah, send it to Dave. I'll get it.
All right.
There's also a toad. Same thing. You know,
12165 in Oak Meadow Drive, Rolla, Missouri 65401.
Boy, you're gonna get some stuff now, bud.
Okay, good. Yeah, I don't care. You're welcome, honey. You're welcome. She's moving out now. It's my wife, Lisa, by the way.
I was trying to get in there and say we can also email Michelle your address.
Yeah, why don't
we use Messenger or something?
Yeah,
What's your
right.
checking account?
I don't care. I'm an old man. What the hell? What do I got to worry about? All right. So, anyways, okay. So, let's see. So you're saying that the LA fire was Maui 2.0. Is that what you said? Yes.
Absolutely. And what
Yeah.
people need to understand is that, and this goes into politics, but this country is not what people think it is. This country is literally owned by the elite bankers, and that was after the Civil War. It's a very, very long story, but this is what's going on all over the country. It's because the renewable energy companies, the electric companies, they're the ones. When you look at who's going to gain, you follow the money. And what's happening through these attacks, and they are attacks on the American people, but this is also coming through people's general plans, because what's happening is on the big island here that I live on, we have a general plan over 300 pages long, over almost 400 actions, compared to prior general plans that were 50 pages long here on the Big Island. We've been fighting it for a year now, and this is what's coming is they're wanting to cluster people into houses. They're wanting to do the 15-minute cities. They want to create natural. They want to change our ag land into natural land, meaning limited farming, limited people, limited building. So we've been fighting it for a long time, and it's coming to a head right now. But the reason why I'm saying this is because everybody, if you need to look at your general plan, and the best way to do that is to go to ChatGPT and put in your county's name, general plan after that, and then what constitutional amendments is this general plan violating? When I was on Ann Vandersteel, when I was on Ann Vandersteel's podcast, she did this with Palm Beach, and the ChatGPT listed a whole list of things that her general plan will be violating the constitutional amendments. So this is what's happening. This is not just happening in Maui and LA and the other places that have been attacked, but this is happening. It's coming for all of us, you guys, because this country is not what we think it is. And that's in my book as well. In my book as well is Who Owns America? Who owns America? And people need to understand what is coming. And we can stop this, but we have to do it together. We have to stand up. We got to go to our county council meetings, and we have to we got to see with our eyes. And it's going to be hard. It's hard. I get it. Thinking about Maui being attacked, thinking about the children. Like they had 115. They found 115. The death count was 115. Then it drops to 97. Did you know that there was mishandling of human remains? They had recruits picking up human remains who had zero experience doing so, putting bodies into one baggie. Some people don't know if they have the correct person. They don't know if they have the entire person. Many.
Does that happen very often?
Depends on whether or not you've ever been at war.
Well, that's a war. Yeah. This is a fire. Or is that the same thing?
The problem when you have a large fire with lots of casualties is that the casualties are not distinguishable.
This was 95 people. That's not a lot.
The official count now is 102 with 3 children.
I think the biggest thing about that fire is that they were just not prepared for the fire, and they weren't prepared for the aftermath. I think that was the biggest situation.
Were they prepared for the fire?
No, absolutely not. All of the emergency management people were off island. The Maui fire chief was off island. In fact, he wasn't even called. He wasn't even contacted when the Lahaina fire was going on. The Hawaii state representative who lived in Lahaina, Ellie Cochran, she actually had to call. She called him and said, "Should I evacuate?" And he goes, "He's off island." And he goes, "Why?" And she goes, "There's a fire in Lahaina." He wasn't even told. He calls her back a few minutes later, says, "Yes, evacuate." And then the director, the Maui emergency managing director, was on Oahu. And so it's like these people, you wonder this.
Well, yeah, and that's pretty interesting because Mayor Bass,
Listen,
Karen Bass, was in Africa.
That's
when the
right.
fire. Well, I mean, this sounds like a plan.
She's in my book. Karen Bass is in my book. And also the thing is that Karen Bass, when she ran for office, said she would not leave the country.
Would not leave the country if anything bad happened.
So many things that happened in LA.
She stayed gone for most of the fire. She didn't come back right away.
She didn't. And there's actually pictures of her after she was
You see, he is not paranoid. I'm a little paranoid. I believe in being a little paranoid about stuff. And my wife says a lot, but I took a test once and I'm just on the borderline. But if you're not paranoid, you tend to believe in things that you're told and not that you have done research on, like she's done and I've done, like in, for example, COVID. You are also have an opinion about COVID, don't you?
Well, I've been a health and fitness wellness expert for 30 years. COVID with the mask got me for 2 weeks, and then I'm in Costco and putting hand sanitizer on my hands. I'm like, hand sanitizer is poison for your gut, for your microbiome. You do not want to use it. You want to wash your hands with regular soap. The mask works about as good on a virus as a chain link fence against a mosquito. It just doesn't work. In fact, it harms your nasal passages in your teeth and your throat because you keep breathing in the same stuff. So it's not good. So then I researched COVID and found out during the 2020 that for 6 years, every single year, the regular flu killed more people on the islands than COVID. I went into the police department and I told him, I said, this mask does not help against a virus. One of the officers told me, he goes, we know this is just the regular flu. So it's, that's what I was told by an officer.
Well, COVID ended the flu.
It did.
Yeah.
I even went to our hospital. I saw an ambulance driver outside and I said, are you guys having a lot of COVID patients? Is there a lot of deaths? He goes, no. He goes, no. And we're not allowed to talk about it. No. And we're not.
Exactly. So when did you figure this out? About what year was it?
2020. I actually, the COVID happened March. It was March 2020, and then April, I did a health summit. I actually put a health summit here on the Big Island. Nobody would come to us, so we were outside on a beach park, and I live streamed Peggy Hall and Dr. Mary Ruwert, and we were talking for 2 hours about how this is not what people think it is. This is nothing what people think it is. And cops came actually out right after the whole thing was over. And we had 22 officers, 15 cop cars, and they were flying down Ali'i Drive, which is a single lane road on each side. I mean, driving like somebody was murdered. And they came, arrested 5 people, and they gave them the same. They gave him 3 charges of the emergency proclamation, and that's actually not a law. Right. And so all the charges got dropped and dismissed.
So what happens when you let the government do everything and you don't stand up for your rights? I would agree with that. And listen, this has been a great interview and a great conversation with Bob Wells here, and I think we ought to do this again sometime, and we can talk about a bunch of stuff. You said you needed like an hour, and obviously you got an hour and about 15 minutes. Anyhow, I want to thank you. And where can people find you, buy your books, and other than the Dave Weinbaum Show, where can people find you?
Yeah, great Maui land grab book. Thank you for putting that up. They can actually find me on YouTube and Rumble, and that's actually at my wellness page, and it's Blossom Inner Wellness, Blossom, and then Inner, INNER Wellness. You can find me there on YouTube. I actually am on YouTube probation because I mean, oh my gosh, I keep getting in YouTube probation. So the algorithms don't like me, but YouTube, Rumble, Truth Social, those all BitChute. That's Blossom Inner Wellness. And the best one is Rumble because they are a free speech. They honor the constitutional amendment of free speech. YouTube does not. So thank you,
I
Dave,
think
for
in the
having
last part, somebody was fooling with your with your your interview with me. But anyways, you know what? I tried to book this interview, but all I got was a shaka.
a shaka.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's supposed to be a joke. I don't know. It's wait a minute. What's a shaka? Do you know what a shaka is? What is a shaka?
A shaka. When you give someone a shaka, it's
Yeah,
like,
there you go. See, you don't even know that.
It's when you put your finger in a wall socket. You get a shaka.
All right, thank you so much. I enjoyed it. I'm sure Bob Willis enjoyed it, and I'll send you his address. Don't worry.
All these books, all of my books are available everywhere. Walmart.
All right, enough. I got 35 seconds here, and then I'm done. All right.
And I need to go sort my socks.
Yeah, you need to check underneath for fires and stuff like that. Microwave check. All right. Thank you so much. This has been a great show. Thank you, my loving audience and the people that are on this show, my wife and JP and everyone else. I'll be back with another edition of the Dave Weinbaum Show next Friday. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.